And we are live. Here we are. Episode, believe it or not, 5 of the Phalanx. We were all just backstage talking, getting to know Nick who's joining us, which is, if you don't know, Nicholas Mueller. He is the creator of Demon Hunter Raven, a fantastic comic, indie comic. If you haven't checked it out, please do. But yeah, he's our guest. He's with him in their house of regulars, if you will. But really quick, the Phalanx is kind of since it's on my YouTube channel, like we're getting a lot of steady views on this. Like overall, we've already got over 100 watch hours, which I think that's a big thing on YouTube. I don't really know much about it, but 100 watch hours. What? I think that's pretty impressive.
That's pretty cool.
We've only been doing this about a little over a month, right?
Yeah.
But Jackson, we got Mega Dreads is here, and we got Jack Sloan already. Jack, those boys, all the regulars are starting to stream in. But yeah, so today's episode is what are we thankful as creators? What are we thankful for? So, and we're going to keep it loose. We always do. We have a lot of fun. And just to let you guys know, I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of our viewers, even people that have watched it not live, but after the fact, and they enjoy. Oh, Andy G is here. What's up, Andy? Andy G killing it from Instagram. I did a great interview with him not too long ago. And William is here. What's up, But yeah, so we're people are enjoying how we keep the format loose. That seems to be the consistent that I'm getting. They enjoy our interaction with each other, and they certainly enjoy the ball busting. Like that is apparently that is the common thread across all of this. That we are absolutely. Here we go. Oh, and he's got a tank top on.
What?
Oh, he's trying to show you up, Dennis.
Bulking season. What?
Oh, yeah. We're just talking about Dennis is bulking, then this guy shows up in a tank top.
That's what's up. What?
Yeah,
like a boy band.
Nice.
What?
Must be
right
nice, North Carolina.
What?
What can I say? Sorry,
Nick,
I just got back from the gym. I got to do this in the living room.
Where you living, Nick? Where are you out of?
I'm in Wisconsin.
Okay. So. All right. So we only got one Southerner. Well, no, Dennis too.
Yeah,
Dennis is in Carolinas as well. So, but Chris is all swelled up. Oh, Chris froze again. Oh,
nice. Oh, hold on. I got a snapshot.
Yeah. This is a good one. He's meditating. He's got his protein shake in his hand when it froze. That was good. So.
He's back. Stop talking about it.
There he is. He's back. Guys, stop talking. Chris is back. JD.
I freeze. You guys don't. So.
Yeah, but that's all right. Look how I freeze on the regular. Look at Crossfire last night. That was a hot mess. So, but So Chris, we were just talking about Nick and welcoming Nick to Phalanx. Hopefully, it will be not just his first time, but we're telling him that how much of big fans we are of Demon Hunter Raven, and that how all of our universes have some eerie similarities. So we were discussing that earlier in the green room, and but here we are. So today's just to touch base on it briefly, that today's episode is about what are we thankful, but we're going to keep it loose. Again, because I was telling these guys we logged in, Chris, that a lot of the feedback we've been getting for the Phalanx is that people enjoy the loose format. They enjoy a topic, but they like how we get off track regularly, and they also enjoy, from I was telling them the ball busting. Like that is apparently something I get across constantly, that people are enjoying how we just our camaraderie, basically. So.
Yeah.
All right, so you know what? Yeah. So
if you can't tell already.
Please, Nick just wrapped up a really successful Kickstarter for Demon Hunter Raven. And like I said, if you guys haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. Like I said, we are all massive fans of what he's got going on over there. And no, absolutely, man. We love everything you guys are doing. And me personally, I like the Crusader. Like that's my boy. Like I just like Calibur's my homeboy from Homebrewed. I like the Crusader from Demon Hunter Raven. He's no nonsense. Yeah, I tend to gravitate towards these no nonsense characters. Like he's gruff, he's really rough around the edges. You know what I mean? And I just tend to just really gravitate towards this. It might be yeah, but
he's kind of that fun one to work with too. He jumps in there and he takes it. He doesn't take anything. He just jumps in there.
Nah, and his costume's cool. It's like all the Crusader themed things I've seen strolling through Instagram lately. He's my favorite because it's sometimes less is more. I like the tunic, I like the hood.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
and I think sometimes when you try to overdress a character like someone that is Crusader based or whatever, it gets muddied up. So you got to be careful with that. You nailed it. You walked that perfect line. So.
That's good to hear because originally out of all the things that I designed, that was like the one that I thought was going to be the worst. So I was like, oh, this isn't going to work. So it's good to hear feedback.
I like it. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I think everyone else does too. So you want to tell us a little bit about Demon Hunter Raven, just to introduce yourself to some of our folks? Yes.
Yeah, so as you've already introduced me, I'm Nicholas Mueller, and I'm the creator of Demon Hunter Raven. It's a supernatural action book that takes place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's about a young kid that gets fused with a holy ancient artifact, and he joins a group of demon hunters, and their whole job is to basically eradicate demons with extreme prejudice. Our main character is Raven. He's kind of a young kid, and he's got anger issues. So a lot of this book is about him getting into his own troubles, and he's the kind of guy that he punches first, and maybe he'll ask questions later.
I know a guy like that.
Which I think we could all probably, in some form or another, relate to. So a lot of this journey is about him. Yeah, is about him growing up and coming across these many occult organizations. So there's gonna be a lot of like demons, ghouls, vampires, witches, whatever I feel like drawing that day. So it's a very angry character, kind of just pounding the crap out of anything that comes across his way. So a lot of action. So that's, I guess, the best pitch I can give you at the moment.
I tell you what, as elevator pitches go, that was a solid one because
pretty good.
Thank you.
One, it lasts about 10 minutes. So you've nailed it. You've already impressed me with that for sure. And Andy G loves the cigar. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, Nick, for sure. Like I like I said, the similarities between our characters as a whole, because Caliber is very much like that from Homebrewed, and we know Burlap doesn't do a whole lot of talking, but he sure as hell does a whole lot of killing. And Convictor is very much of the same cloth as you were just saying about Demon Hunter. He questions. He'll sort that shit out later. If he's,
right. He's got a mission to do. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that is what it's about. Yep. Awesome.
Hey, Nick, can I ask you a question, man?
Depends. Yeah, go ahead.
Super polished. Like, did you go to school? Because your work looks. No, I was gonna say your work looks really polished. I was gonna say, did you go to school for this? Because it's on point.
Yeah.
Actually, I used to be a professional creator back in the early 2000s. I was getting my stuff done. So this is before Facebook and Kickstarters and that stuff were a thing. And I worked for several independent publishers that are no longer in any sort of capacity working anymore. And I worked on several web comics back in the day. I ended up getting extremely sick back in 2008 and dropped out for a good 10 years of actual drawing and working on comics. And so this last 2 years, I've kind of just come back into it and just kind of getting my foothold. I used to draw way differently. My style right now is like, I used to draw like heavy, like those old image guys like Rob Liefeld and Jim Lee, but really amateurish. Yeah, he's cool. I like him, but so I worked on several independent things, and I did a few movie concepts for just really super independent books that I couldn't even tell you who they were because it was through a middle management sort of corporation, and they would outsource me to these groups, and it was terrible chain of command, sort of like that. They would say they wanted something changed, and then they would message me, and then I'd go, I don't understand that change. Can you explain it to me? And then I'd have to wait like 3 days later to get his response from a response of a response. So it was really bad. But yeah, this day and age now, before Kickstarters and everything, I used to do the con circuit and go up and talk to the like the guys at Aspen. Those artists were really formal, and they would give you like straight up critiques. They talk to you about stuff. So guys like Cadwell and those guys would give you just really good pointers and tell you what you had to do to get into the industry. And then everything changed in between my lapse of time, and I had to learn what crowdfunding was and the social media aspects, and it's just a whole entire different environment now. So I'm not a professional by any means now, but I was trying to a long time ago.
Yeah, stuff looks great. I would, if I were to saw on a rack, I'd be like, that's a professional work right there. Yeah,
thank you. My cover was done by the professional artist for Antarctic Press's Punchline, Matthew Weldon, and so he does several actual professional things. And then I haven't let this out of the bag yet, but I just got a professional Marvel artist to do the next cover for the next book, and I'll be dropping that in a month or two. And he's one of my all-time favorites, and he's worked on quite a slew of books that he reached out to me in the middle of a campaign, and I was like, I can't hire you now, but how about in a few months? But I mean, there's artists looking for work right now. The current industry right now is bleeding workers right now. There's more workers than there are work, and those guys are looking for work. So you just have to know who to hit up and who to talk to. But that's a whole entire another conversation.
No, it's good though. We, like I said, in the comments, they were just saying we says Demon Hunter Raven is cool looking design. I'll put it up there. Cool looking design, and he loves the blue skin. Yeah,
blue seems to be kind of resonate with a lot of people. It's got a sort of heroic sort of attribute to it. And everything,
and it bounces off the white really nice too of his armor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it gives it it gives it definitely a heroic feel. And, and in blue you don't see it a lot. You just don't, unless the person's not of this world, you know what I mean, or a demon or something like that. So to see a hero running around blue, that's awesome. So
well, thank you. Yeah, that was that took a year to design. I originally I think I'm gonna butcher his last name, Nate Borrell. He's from Australia, so he's done
Nate.
a bunch of,
that's our boy Nate. Nate
so he was
that guy.
He's probably been the longest time follower that he saw the original design. When he was
our boys.
And he's really cool. So he actually won the art contest that we did back in a month ago during the Kickstarter. He did a really cool rendition of Violet, who is the trained assassin.
He is a machine. Awesome. He is a machine. He is very good, and he's only going to get better.
4 logos for me.
Yeah.
When I was at the gym, I was sitting there talking to him, and him and I have a project going together next month. And so we were bouncing for my guys in a matter of like 20 minutes. That dude's a machine.
Oh yeah, he's good. He's good.
And you think I like it, like he said, he's only going to get better. You know what I mean? He's just one of these artists. And Jack, his partner Jack Sloan, they're both with Slate Comics, and Jack too.
Slate Comics. I've just recently been checking out their stuff, and holy cow,
they got some big stuff coming next year. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I said their characters, Colt and Omen, are again fit seamlessly into all of our respective universes. It's unreal. So it's crazy stuff for sure. But so Chris, you came back from the gym, huh? Yeah.
I'm posting your thing right now, so everyone knows we're live.
Oh yeah, I did. So I just threw it up. So all right. So and then you got
sorry,
Jesse.
I'm late because my daughter goes to bed at 8:30, and my office is right underneath her bedroom. So every time we do these things, she's up till 10:30 because I'm yelling in the office. So I moved it out to the living room, and for some reason,
getting punched.
My phone won't.
By the way, just so you know, that was highly regarded as one of the top comedic moments of last Phalanx. Was you getting in hot water? So, it really was like Sleek. Sleek was like, it literally had him crying, and he told me, and that and admitting that I watch Hallmark, that was the other thing he said, was that those two were like, they were the best there. So
that was a bit much.
Whatever.
I slept on the couch that
bit
night.
Much for who? Bit much for you. A bit much for me. So, but yeah, like I said, Nick's regretting instantly that he came on now. Right now,
I'm gonna go now. See you guys. No.
Yeah. He's like, oh, someone's at the door.
Why did I accept this?
And you got Jesse is just sitting in like a shadow. How very burlap of him.
The lighting in the garage is not great. I could probably fix it, but it might bind you.
Very Drayton of you, my friend.
It's very atmospheric. It sets the mood perfectly.
It does. Exactly. It does. Jesse is like the figurehead.
Burlap. Oh, it must be the guy.
It's the guy that won't show his face. It's that guy.
You've seen my face. You get it.
I know your face. Yeah. Yeah. But what you got?
Hop on here with like the cottontail head on or something.
Oh my god!
Oh gosh!
It's Halloween. If we're still doing this by Halloween, we all have to wear costumes next year.
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool.
Can you guys hear me? I switched to headphones.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I got you.
I'm gonna try and fix the lighting situation real quick.
No, you don't have to fix the light. It looks cool. Don't change it. You look very Godfather-ish. So
yeah.
But yeah. So we're this is episode 5. We have a pretty decent run. We have a pretty cool following. I was telling the guys, Chris, earlier that I guess on YouTube here we have just hit 100 watch hours.
Ooh. Oh, that's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a big thing on YouTube apparently. I don't know. So
yeah, thanks, Mom.
Boy, thank God my wife logging in from work all these times.
Exactly.
But, yes, that's a YouTube. Because being on the platform, it gives you the studio, and it tells you that you hit 100 watch hours. I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means. So, do I celebrate? I don't know. And it's like if you hit 1,000, is the big milestone apparently. So I don't know. Well, we're cruising pretty well though.
We'll get there.
That's all because of you guys. We're almost there. So we're climbing. So it is what it is. It's fun. Everyone enjoys it. We enjoy it. So, but yeah. So, what? This is our Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is this week. Go ahead, Chris. Go.
I was gonna say before when Nick was talking, I was trying to give him his space there, but yeah, Demon Hunter Raven is clearly like one of my favorite non-Wolfpack people. When I first saw this, I was just blown away. I think I've told you that before. And your character, seeing more and more of your universe really fits in with a lot of stuff that Jason and Slate and all of us are doing, which is really cool. And I think I said this before with Jason. It's interesting to see all of the, especially like different parts of the world, and we have these similar universes that all kind of like mold together. It's really cool.
Speak of the devil and you shall appear. So we were just talking about you, my friend.
His ears are burning over in Australia.
Yeah.
Time to get on Phalanx.
Yeah, but
the future has arrived.
I got something in the mail today. We're talking about things that we're thankful for, and Jason, I wanted to show you this. I got it off of somebody on one of the channels that are the groups that I'm on Facebook. This guy posted this, and I had to buy it. I'm gonna get it framed. Look at that! I don't know if you can see all that, but that's upside down.
Dude.
Yeah,
that's intense. Bro,
yep, $25.
Yeah. That's all He-Man.
Wow.
Oh man, my inner fur pants are getting excited right now from my He-Man panties.
Yeah, I just got in the mail when I walked in the door, and that was like my little Christmas present to myself. It's gonna get framed and put in the office because.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I forget what comic book company he works for, but he does Lock
and Key.
Yeah, it's good series.
That's IDW, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he does all that stuff, and he's in one of the comic creator groups I'm in, and he posted it. I was like, I gotta have that. That thing's awesome.
No, that's. I wish. I mean, you and I belong in a lot of the same groups because I try not to freak on Facebook too much lately, but just be
Silverback. That's his name.
Yeah.
What's
Brian Silverback.
Yeah.
That's
he does Loggerhead. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Loggerhead.
He does Loggerhead for Scout Comics. Yeah.
Dennis is the man. He knows everyone. Dennis is a student of the game.
I read too many books, man. Yeah,
there's no such thing as read too many books.
I don't know.
Good,
you guys read books? Kind of weird.
Jason
I actually do.
Yeah, I do. I'm old. I still read
look
books.
At the pictures.
So Caliber, the guy that actually is Caliber in real life, He doesn't really watch TV or do anything other than read. He reads Wikipedia and he reads books.
Oh boy. What could go wrong?
Yeah,
oh boy.
He will legit sit on Wikipedia and just absorb information.
Wow.
He's close to having an eidetic memory. Like the kid can remember everything. And so he just absorbs tons of useless knowledge. Me and his wife make fun of him all the time because we'll just say something like random and he'll have an entire backstory for it. Like it's impressive.
Wow.
He doesn't get into much social stuff. He's a police officer and he does he deals with like cartels and things like that. So he just doesn't really like dealing with people outside of work. So he just like absorbs knowledge. It's kind of interesting.
Oh, nice.
All right, so Thanksgiving, right? Big week, big turkey week, right? A lot of stuff going on. What's everyone's plans? Oh, you don't have to go into super detail, but what are we doing for Thanksgiving besides stuffing our faces? So, Jesse, what are you doing? Working?
Working the day before, the day after. This year, this will be my holiday to work, so I'll have actual Thanksgiving day off. With the family, because obviously with the stuff going on with COVID right now, the hospital's been insane. So things are going nuts right now. Going back to a lot of the old ways, we were doing things during the red era of the lockdown. So just trying to stay caught up with all that, but we're still going to try and find time. Like we're not doing big family Thanksgiving because obviously with everything going on in the world, the less state crossing and all that, the better and everything. So we're just doing immediate family, just good dinner, hang out, have a couple beers, and that's about it. That's about Thanksgiving for me. I'm still waiting for Eli Roth Thanksgiving movie to come out for the past 15 years, and that hasn't happened yet. So that's on the Thanksgiving bucket list.
All right, Dennis, what about you? What's your plans for Thanksgiving?
Nothing much. It's just us this Thanksgiving. I'm sure, just like you guys. The cool thing is, my wife was saying, we don't have to do traditional turkey. You can eat whatever you want.
Sure.
So kind of making up our own menu. I'm a huge football fan, so if anything, just try and catch the Cowboy game, and hopefully they lose. So that's pretty much it. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone feels like that, except Chris. Chris, you're not a Cowboys fan, are you? Chris from North. No, Chris from Connecticut.
What are the Cowboys?
Yeah, what are
exactly.
they? Yeah, okay, all right, good.
She stands up. There's a Dallas Star on the back of that blue.
Nope. If there was ever going to be a football-related thing in my house, it would be the Patriots. To be honest with you.
Well, you're from Connecticut. That's expected. Yeah, that's expected.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So, all right, Chris, what are you doing for Thanksgiving besides working out and stuff?
Actually, we just planned the week schedule for working out, and we all working out on Thanksgiving.
I'm meal prepping my Thanksgiving, bro.
Yeah, he's having a protein shake for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Legit
turkey protein shake.
Well, originally, with the family situation the way it is, I wanted to go to Connecticut, but the numbers are too high. My aunt's really worried about stuff, so we're gonna stay home. Luckily, we get my daughter back on Thanksgiving. I think we get her almost all the day on Thanksgiving. So we are going to be doing a small family get-together. Originally, it was going to be turkey sandwiches, and I put the kibosh on that because, in my opinion, if we're going to be doing something festive, we need to have a turkey, and I need cranberry sauce. Those are the only two things I require. So we're going to go to my mother-in-law's house. We're going to have a bonfire, eat out a little bit, and go to the gym.
All right.
Thanksgiving gym day,
Yeah, Nick, you're up. What's your plans, buddy?
Mine's gonna be like it is every year, but it will seem like it's going with current pandemic things. It's just to be with my family and not go anywhere.
Yeah.
I have 5 kids, and it's just me and my wife and our 5 kids.
Me too.
Well, hey, there we go.
Hey, all right.
Hey, all right. There's always one guy in the chat that I end up having another. Yeah, there's always one other.
Yeah.
Man, I'm one of 11. I'm one of 11, and it ruined me on big families because.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was brutal, man. Like Christmas, I remember trying to beat up my older brother because he got a toy that I wanted, and then like another year, I got something he wanted, and I wound up like, because he's 6'2", and he just like grabbed me by my feet and hung me upside down. Like,
yeah, Chris literally lived in the Loud House.
I got
live action Loud House.
Yeah, yeah, it was ridiculous. So yeah, I'm glad we just have the one.
See, I come from a family of just two. It's just me and my sister, and now I have 5 kids, and I don't know what to do. So I just go into my office. I don't deal with it.
Bro, I've most of my kids are all like in their 20s now, and I still have a 10-year-old. So I got some advice for you. None of us know what we're doing. So you just wing it, bro. That's all you do. You just wing it.
That's what I keep hearing.
And you look to your wife, and you say, just follow her lead. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. That's the only way you're going to survive this. Yeah. Just not. That's it. That's all you do.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Thanksgiving for me, I'm working. I'm on duty for Thanksgiving. So I don't get out I won't get out till that night. But we weren't really going to do much. We're going to have a small dinner here because speaking of one of my kids, my daughter Kate is actually getting married on this coming Saturday. So we have to go out to a manor. She's staying in this manor here in Jersey, like on the water. So we're going out there and spend the weekend there for her wedding. So I got that going on. So, there's so much food with the wedding and then the rehearsal dinner. So it kind of worked out that I was actually pulling duty anyway for pulling duty. See what I said? I'm so sorry. All right. But anyway, so that I'm actually on duty for Halloween. So it didn't really, Halloween for Thanksgiving. So it didn't really matter. Because we're going to be eating plenty of stuff over the weekend. So that's my plans anyway. So, all right, so Thanksgiving, it's coming, and I don't know if everyone's family does this, but I know we go around the table, say the stuff we're thankful for, and that kind of stuff. So I kind of thought like this would be a good idea to do that, but as creators, from a creator standpoint, all of us, whether we created our own characters or our own universes, or whether we simply just draw someone else's creations or have our own secret creations that no one's seen yet. Talking about you, Dennis. I'm looking at you.
I know.
I know. So, all right. So, so we're all creators in one sense or another. All of us are, and writers, artists, no matter what. So I thought, just to, again, just keep our format loose topic and just what we're thankful for. And of course, we'll get off track. That's the best part of the show for sure. And so let's just I'll start this time. Usually I go around the room, but I can tell you right now, one thing I am absolutely thankful for is from a creator standpoint, because literally yesterday, Dennis, you know this because you put the date on the dumpster, the 22nd in 2017. Yesterday was actually the day that, as a 45-year-old man, I decided that I was literally going to make the Convictor a real comic, as opposed to just my black and white comics that I drew that a lot of people saw last night on Crossfire. And instead of just all those kind of weird things I've done, I decided that yesterday, so it's 3 years ago that I did that, and I am truly thankful to be where I am now. And I can honestly say that none of that is possible without the spectacular fan base that I have. And that fan base includes you guys, and not even fan base, my creator support base is massive as well. Like, I just have so many amazing people that I can lean on that I honestly can truly call friends, because independent comics is unlike anything else. We've said that a million times on the show in the past 5 episodes. The independent comics is there are some small examples, but where it's not the case, but truly as a whole, everyone wants to see each other succeed. And I'm thankful for that, because I came in as a no one, and I immediately, which I consider big names, I was taken under the wing from like Brian Lambert from Wingless Comics. I was taken under the wing by Derek Allen from Concrete and Jamal Lesser from Concrete. Those guys just brought me right in and taught me everything I needed to know about how comics are now. And so I was very thankful for that. And then the amazing support system that I have with the amazing convicts that we call them, our fan base that came in and just like a rabid, and like we've all said, Chris always says this, that the fan base is extremely rabid. The Convictor fan base is they're pretty intense, and And I'm thankful for them. I'm thankful for. I mean, our Kickstarter wouldn't even have done even close to what it did if it wasn't for all of them. And I am also thankful for my amazing team, and that includes Dennis. Of course, Dennis he did our covers, and I really leaned on him. I came at him really heavy with expectations, and he rose to the occasion and then some. And I'm extremely thankful for him. I'm extremely thankful for Nick Lee, who was instrumental in our Kickstarter success. Nick was the guy pushing the product. Like, Nick was very instrumental in that. And of course, I'm thankful for, Chris here. Chris came on board late to help me out, and he's always been there. He's, I can honestly say, if I literally have a best friend in indie comics, it's that guy for sure. But I don't really mean it, Chris. I'm just saying it because we're live and your wife's watching. But anyway, but so
I get my own cranberry sauce. That's true.
I have to recover the Hallmark comment, so I have to come in hard. It's nothing personal, but yeah. So I mean, seriously, Chris came in late to do our letters, because I was originally doing them. I know I was leaning other people, and I decided I was going to do it myself. And Chris wanted to teach me how to do it, and then it kind of like Chris just said, "You know what? I'll do it." And he literally did that without prompting, and he's always there. He's always there for me. I mean, all you guys are. Jesse, thankful for Jesse. Me and Jesse been thick as thieves since Burlap's Kickstarter. We got a lot in common, and we way more in common than we thought. And Jesse's support and mentorship was also massive for our Kickstarter and just overall for everything. So I'm just thankful as a whole to be part of the community. I'm thankful for amazing people like Nick, who chose to draw my character, because we had a successful Kickstarter, and he just thought he made this amazing black and white piece, which I still, I love. Any fan art I absolutely love, and that piece is fantastic. So I'm thankful. I really am. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am right now. I wouldn't be wrapping up Hunter's Moon right now and stuff like that. And Natalie, the bromance is real, she says in here in the comments. But I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't, and I know that. I'm a humble guy. I don't usually, I don't brag. And so thank you. That is my pitch. Thank you, everyone, for just supporting the Convictor and everything I'm trying to do from this old man's bucket list dream. So thank you. All right, enough about me. Who wants to go next? It's a free-for-all.
Jesse.
Jesse's next. Okay. All right. Okay. From a creator standpoint, obviously, I'm very thankful for my family and friends that have supported what I've been doing, because it's like when you go into this kind of thing in this kind of creative field, which is, very competitive, and it's very, it's intense. It's intense, all the stuff you got to do, from, writing to either being an artist and drawing it like all you fellas, or being a writer like me, when then you go out and, you get your artist, you work on the book together and all that. Before even all that stuff, you have that network of people, your family, your friends that, support you and give you that, if it weren't for the support of my wife, because I even said to my wife, back when I was still doing indie film and I was getting really frustrated with it, I was getting very stressed out, and it was causing a lot of anxiety trying to plan what was once the Burlap short film, which was the last indie film I attempted, and everything was going wrong. And I said to her, because I got this inspiration to do a comic book instead of a movie, and I said to her, I'm like, what do you think about that? If I were to switch my path, stop pursuing indie film and start pursuing indie comics. And she was completely on board. She even gave me this pep talk that really pushed me to do it, because she's been in my life for, me and her have been together for almost 13 years, and we really just anytime we attempt something, we're always in each other's corner, and with her advice and her just that support, I was really able to get this off the ground and get Burlap started, like in the very beginning. And so I'm so thankful for her. I'm so thankful for my parents, my grandparents, because all of them have always supported my like creative endeavors. And especially, and it's not calling favorites, it just is what it is. My dad has been in my corner since day one. If it weren't for him, Burlap issue 1 would have never even happened. And you know, that's even like one of the big reasons that I'm sure a lot of you guys know this in here, you know, in the live, but there's a character in the book that's directly based off my dad. It looks exactly like
one of my favorite characters.
Laszlo. Yeah, he's great. And he really, like, you know, he is my dad to an extreme, but I really made a point to do that to kind of like show how thankful I am for him and everything he's done for me in life and with the comic. He was, you know, very supportive and very helpful with a lot of things. And so yeah, the big first thing is that my family and my friends that really had my back going into it, because it was a big change. It was a whole different direction that I'd never been involved in before. I was just, you know, a fan of comics. And so I'm very thankful for that, for the start. And then, of course, I'm thankful for Covenant Comics. I'm thankful for JD Gonzalez and Jesse Chisholm. I can't see the chat, but if is JD still here? Is he in there?
I believe he is, yeah.
He is, yes. He's going to shed a tear, too, because me and him started emailing back and forth when I must have submitted Burlap to over 50 publishers. And I either was met with silence or a no for most of them. And even Image Comics emailed me back. I was shocked. I never expected in the world to hear from them at all. But they sent me a rejection letter, and it was a very nice rejection letter. It was very not heartbreaking at all. It was, but the way they presented it was cool. Like I understood. But so then when JD and Jesse came along, I, you know, submitted to them because I saw their stuff on Facebook and Instagram, and I thought it looked awesome. And they took a total chance on me. Like, you know, they didn't know me at all, and we got to know each other through emailing and messaging and stuff. And they're really responsible for how far I've gotten this character in this book, in this community. So I'm very thankful for them. I honestly, I don't know. I'd probably still be selling my books on Etsy, and I'd probably only be at like 1 and 2 right now. Because that's where I started. I made the books. I had 50 copies printed by Morris Publishing, and I just sold them myself on Etsy and like to people who, you know, asked me about it in person and stuff like that. So they really helped introduce me to the community. I've met all kinds of amazing people through them, and you know, they've really just been this great, not only support system but creative team, because we all work off each other. We really go that extra mile to include each other in planning and talking about future books and stuff. And of course, I'm so thankful for all you guys in our Wolf Pack, as you guys call it, in our SSB group. And like,
he said it.
I didn't say anything.
Oh man,
that's what. Yeah, but even like, and just the relationships I've created with you guys, even Nicholas, through our like he described earlier in the green room, we were kind of like brothers in arms during the beginning of COVID, having active Kickstarters, and just himself, like, you know, we both really went at it to help each other and get each other to that goal. And we met all kinds of other great creators that also corresponded with that, which I tried to bring all together in that image I had created. It was that ensemble illustration where I brought in as many of the characters I could of other creators who supported the Burlap Kickstarter, who helped me promote, and we're just genuinely good people. And we're all just helping each other. So that community, all you boys, I'm so thankful for. And like, you know, Dennis, like, you know, he reached out in the very beginning, maybe even before I was with Covenant, and, you know, just he really loved the design of the characters. I mean, he did an amazing fan art. And just recently, I'm going to talk about this because it is very special to me. Dennis worked on a project with me, and it's a very special project. It's very personal, and I couldn't be more thankful to have him as a friend and as a creative co-worker.
That's awesome.
Because
thank you, man.
honestly, Dennis, like it's as you know how personal that whole thing is to me.
Yep.
And to me. So the fact that you and I work together, my words and your art, to create something that literally is going to be in my life and in my family's life for so long, like,
yeah, man,
like it's awesome. And so on a personal note, thank you so much for all that and just all your support and the fan art and everything. Just like, because I was like literally, and I still consider myself like a nobody, but like just the way you reacted to the characters that you wanted to create art of them was so cool and humbling and inspiring, and I'm so thankful for that. And so yeah, it's literally my family, it's the community, it's you guys. And I've been ranting a while, which is normally Chris's job, so I'm gonna wrap this up real quick. The last thing I'll say, but it's definitely not least, this is definitely one of the biggest ones I say for last, is my artist Zoran Jovicic. If it weren't for him, I don't know what I would have done, because I knew nothing going into this. All I knew was, how do I hire artists? Google how to hire a comic artist and artist. I can talk. And so I came across all these, Indeed and websites to find artists, and he responded to my ad, and literally I knew nothing. I knew nothing about comics, like in the indie community. I mean, I knew indie comics, but like working in it, and he guided me, he mentored me, he helped me with developing how to write the script. Like I sent him my script, and he was like, oh, well, like in comic scripts I've seen or writers I've worked with, because I was brand new, I had no idea what I was doing. And he was literally like my right hand throughout this whole thing. And not only is he Burlap's main artist and letterer and all that and cover artist, but he's also a truly good friend of mine now, where over the past almost year and a half, like me and him have both gone through some really crazy things, some great things, some awful things. And throughout all those things, we were like there for each other as friends and as like comrades and stuff like that. So I finish up my spiel by saying that I couldn't be more thankful for Zoran as my partner on this and my collaborator, my friend. And like, I literally don't even know what Burlap would be right now without him joining the project and working on it with me. So that's my spiel. That's awesome. Let's give it to Dennis.
Hey, Dennis, before I start with you, there's some stuff going on in the comments. I want to address it right now. Totally. So Warren, if you're still in the comments, I'm going to put it up here so we can answer your question that you have. Okay. Warren was asking about Hunter's Moon, and this is his last comment, so I put it up here. I told him I would address it. So yes, the Kickstarter wrapped up 3 months ago. The Kickstarter wrapped up on September 11th. The Kickstarter was to start the production of the comic. The comic was not in production until the Kickstarter wrapped up. That's what the money for the Kickstarter was for. So once it wrapped up on September 11th, we began production on the comic book. And if you look on your backing, on your pledge that you say that is due in November. Okay. Now, I've been pretty forthcoming with updates and stuff like that. So I'll tell you now, we had one of our project team had to step away for personal reasons. I'm not at liberty to say what his reasons were. It's not my business to discuss his business. But he had to step away, and that hindered our project. Unfortunately, he was an integral part of our project, so we had to step back and we had to get some things redone. So that being said, we are currently about 2 weeks behind. It is still not the end of November, so you looked for this to wrap up in about 2 weeks' time. I am currently penciling, and I'm penciling. I'm not digital. I'm a traditional artist. I am penciling the last 4 pages of this comic. And the rest of them are currently out for color and letters. So expect an update with the coloring and the letters in the next Kickstarter. Warren, if that is not to your liking, you can reach out to me via Kickstarter and I can get you a refund if that is not, if my answers do not suffice to, help you understand exactly where we're at right now. I've been more than forthcoming with it. So this is where we are. Unfortunately, human circumstance being what it is, we did not expect to happen what happened. And we had to deal with it. We had to overcome it. We thought we could make the time up, but unfortunately we could not. So we are about 2 weeks behind. And that update was actually coming this week. So now you got it here live on YouTube. Hope that answers your question. Anyway, so all right, Dennis, you're up.
So I was thinking about this question all week because it's most of you guys know I've only been at this for a year, and is this something I address now, what I'm thankful for, or is it something at the end of the year where we're doing our New Year's Eve, looking back on our year and kind of reflecting? But being at Thanksgiving, what are we thankful for? And it's funny how my transition into all this began. It's because of fan art. It's because I saw Jesse's pick and I was like, that character kicks ass. I need to create, not Burlap, I wanted to create his rogues gallery because I'm like, those guys kick ass.
They do. They're amazing. They're amazing.
Yeah, and for some odd reason, I'm always drawn to the villain. So, like something so simple. And when I look back at, at our group and our wolf pack or our SSB, what am I thankful for? I'm thankful for the opportunity Jesse gave me because that was my first piece that was not a normal commission. When I started doing this, it was all like commissions and I would do blank covers and it was fun. And I was still kind of finding my way and it was kind of fulfilling. And as you guys know, you're fulfilling that piece of an artist in your soul. And I didn't draw for 20 years. And here I came back to it. And I was getting that feeling back in here, like, God damn, that's what I was missing all this time. And it was something so stupid that I was like, oh my gosh, for 20 years, I kind of ignored it. And here it was. And then for me, my first like big break or break was Jesse. And that was just drawing some kick-ass villains. And then looking at my group that I'm in with you guys, where I'm at now, I always give to Jason. Because when he took me on and he asked me to draw that covers, I said to him, like, you got to lead me through this indie community. I have no idea what indie community means. And there's so many nuances to it of the expectations. Not that they're rules, but there's different nuances to the indie community. I had no idea. All I always say to him, and I say it to all you guys, is I just draw cool shit and kind of went from there. But Jason led me through it all. And the next thing you know, like all these things that I never thought I'd be a part of are happening. So from Jesse to Jason to my group that I'm in to the guys that I feed off of. I mean, I literally watched Chris's unveiling the other week. And man, I'll be honest with you, I was so jealous. Like, I want that high. I want that happiness of ripping open and looking at, and I know it's coming, Jason. Like, it's right there. So our books will be on a shelf. And like, God damn, like I want that. And I'm seeing
patience. That's all.
No, it's coming.
Patience.
And I'm seeing like, and to Warren's point, like, I see what's being done. And Jason sent me a piece over today to look at. And I'm like, God damn, this is good. And just like I said, like
hot, man. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to catch. That piece was amazing.
Yeah, and like to Nick's point, where I'm like, that's a polished piece. Jason sending me these pieces. I'm like, God damn, these are polished. Like, this is high quality stuff that we're really putting our heart into, and you could see it on paper.
Well, I don't
bullshit.
And that's why I don't think some, and I don't fault the backers for wanting to know where it is.
Yeah,
I get that, but they don't know me personally. They don't understand that I'm a perfectionist. And this is the very first book that I'm putting out, the Convictor. I wanted to meet or exceed expectations. So, I mean, the quote that it's been 3 months, it hasn't been 3 months. You know what I mean? The project ended, September 11th. So we didn't start production until the Kickstarter was over, but I can understand the gripe and I get that. And it's not, if you don't think the pressure is not on me and my team, you know what I mean? It is. And then to have that setback that we had, unfortunately, I mean, you don't anticipate it. You don't expect it. And it was a huge monumental setback for us. So we had to scramble and find another way to clear the obstacle that we had, and we did. And again, I agree. I get where he's coming from. I mean, to write it like that in there, that's a little trolly, you know what I mean, in my opinion. And but I get it. And if you're upset, I get it. You don't think I don't want the book out? You don't think that we don't want the book out? I mean, I want to get it out too. I mean, it's literally sucking up every ounce of my life. I work for Homeland Security. I work literally 13-hour days, and every other ounce I'm not spending time with my family. I'm not doing the things I do with my family. I'm literally out here drawing this comic book as a traditional artist, not digital. I don't have any of those luxuries. I don't do digitally. So I'm out here doing this on my off hours, taking time away from everything else. So, I mean, if you don't think that we don't want to get it out, you're sadly mistaken. And and again, if that doesn't satisfy anyone's questions, please, I will happily issue a refund. It does not. It's no skin off of my back. You know what I mean? It's just, I get it. But we live in an age where patience is few and far between sometimes with instant gratification.
Well,
that's where we live. So
you got to remember too, a lot of people that go to Kickstarter right now, especially with the influx of people, not everybody understands how Kickstarter works and that there's a time frame. And not a lot of people get the emails. So I'm late to the party as being part of the team, but speaking for the team and being kind of, I guess I'm really in the know with our progress, considering the last one to get the pages to letter as it is. I mean, it's going to be done. We're going to get it done. I'll letter the thing in a day if I have to.
And I know you will. You're awesome.
I mean, I did mine in a day and a half, and I erased it twice. So, I personally, being part now of 2 projects from Kickstarter, well, 3 if you count my failed one, I understand that these people don't understand Kickstarter, and I didn't understand it when I first backed my first book on there. But we're not Rob Liefeld. It's not going to be 5 years, and we're giving you excuses. It's going to be another 2 weeks, and it'll be at the printer.
Yeah, I mean, it's just unfortunate. Like I said, that setback was a massive blow to our project. It just was. And what are you going to do? You just got to scramble, pick up the pieces, and forge on. I mean, that's what you do. And we were clear in the project. We were clear that saying that the money from the project will start the production of the book. If you read through the whole campaign, you're going to see that it literally says that.
Most people don't read the stuff. They
no,
look at the
you're right, Nick. They don't.
You're going to have to be really,
Yeah, they pledge and want. Yeah.
I'm back.
Hey, Jesse.
He's back.
I'm last now.
I had some technical difficulties. I'm back.
Let me come in and out.
I was trying to fix something, and then I messed something up, and then I was going.
He's mysterious.
Yes.
The Godfather. He just comes and goes.
He's back in the shadow. But I didn't mean to jump, off. I just you gave me a good place, Dennis, to tag off onto, what we. But thank you for answering those questions as well. So.
No, I mean, and anyone who watches or follows us or knows us as creators knows the integrity and the pride we have in our work. So trust us. Like I understand where you're coming from, Warren.
Yeah,
and,
me too. I understand him too.
But if you hang in there with us, we're not going to disappoint you. So
no, I mean, I could give you subpar panels. Like I could give you some of the other stuff that's floating through Kickstarter. No problem. If that's what you want, I mean, I could pencil whip this and make it look like pure garbage for the last 4 pages. I can do that, but I won't do it because it's my name on that book. It's Dennis's name on the book. It's Chris's name on that book. I won't do it. I won't do it. And so if that means it's going to take a little bit longer, it's going to take a little bit longer. And like I said, hopefully that satisfies, any questions. But
let me just at least as far as what I'm thankful for. Lately, just from like Chris's unveiling and just for working with Jesse on his special project, and I haven't communicated with this with Jesse. There's so much feedback from the people like in my circle on my side of the planet are so into what you've done. Just that feedback, it's the inspiration. And I touched on this when Chris released his unveiling last week, and with the boys like from Slate Comics, everything they're doing is inspiring to me. So where I was I just draw cool shit. Now I'm looking into other avenues of releasing, original characters, or I'm looking into writing and going in avenues I never thought I would go. But for me, I'm just thankful for all that input. I'll be honest with you, if I never met you guys, where would I be right now? That part of my soul, where would it be? Like I would still be doing commissions and sure cool, but this whole other world that I never even ventured into is just amazing, and I'm just learning from it every day, following all these indie creators, and for me, it's just amazing. The last thing I will say is this, and I know all you guys can tag team on this, and my wife left the room, but I will say this. We spend so much time as an artist or as a creator in our own little world. I mean, I can't tell you how many hours, I've said this before, she sleeps right next to me in bed, and from 10 to 1 o'clock, I'm there on my iPad doing digital work, and she's, sleeping next to me, and we're putting major hours in, pouring our heart out into print. and they're the ones who are picking up the slack, covering your bases.
Yep.
I got 2 boys who are just savages, and without her support, you know, she left the room, but I almost didn't want her to know how much, you know, thankful I am for how much she covers me, or at least looks at me. And like when I text her today, I said, hey, I got a call. I don't know if you remember. And she's down. She's like, of course you do. Like, you know, that's your thing and that's your gig. And if I would have said a year ago, would I be, you know, where I would have been, and without her support of just being like, follow your heart, fulfill that artist creation piece in you. I can't even say. And I know all you guys know, just because I know you guys, or I know you as a creator, what you guys, all the amount of work I see on a page, or all the work you put into. So you guys must have really, really strong women behind you who support you. And I can't be more thankful, at least not only for my wife, but for the ladies that support you. That's it.
No, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, okay, go, Chris. Go.
I wanted to comment to Dennis real quick, because he was talking about his art and how he's grown and all that. And today, when we were in the office, I've updated our website a little bit today, and I told my wife to go on and look at it. She hasn't seen my site probably since I launched it. I don't know. But she was looking through the fan art pages, and she came across that picture you did of Samedi, and it was like on the screen. And the way we sit, I sit kind of behind her, and I can see her screen. And she's like, oh, wow, who did this? And I was like, oh, that's Dennis. And she was like, oh, wow, this is really, really amazing. So I wanted to give you props on that, because, you know, Samedi's probably her favorite character. And, you know, from across the room, I just hear her going, oh, wow, you know, like, so props to you, man, because my wife, if you can see this big cat behind me, my wife painted that.
Yeah. I've been staring at it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm not going to pull the laptop up. I'll probably screw everything up, but it's her, the lion inside of that.
It's crazy.
Of my daughter as a baby. And she did that all in acrylic, I believe. So she's an amazing artist. And so if you get that wow out of her, you know that you're doing something really well. So props to you.
Right. Appreciate it. That's awesome.
Yeah, good job. All right, Nick, you're up since you're floating at the top of the Hollywood squares.
Oh, no, I'm not.
Sorry, buddy.
Jesse, you screwed it all up.
Surprise, Nick. Welcome to Phalanx.
Around here, we tend to fail upwards, so you know it's all good.
Yeah, that's right.
Mine's real simple. I am thankful for failure. I think we have all experienced failure in some form or another. And I think all of us probably have failed an exceptional amount of times, but I think we all have that fighting spirit that we don't stop, we keep going, and when we get down, we get right back up. And that's what a creator is. That's what an artist is, a writer, anything. And there's a lot of tough jobs out there, and I've worked a lot of tough jobs, but this is probably the most grueling because there is no respect behind it. There is no money behind it. We're all doing this because we're passionate about it. We're, you know, like you were saying just a minute ago, Dennis, like there's this creative drive in us that if you're not doing it, man, just you feel like there's a void. There's something missing. And Jason, you're talking about wanting to put out a good quality, high caliber book that you yourself are proud of. Like, if you have to sit and look at this for the next few years, like you're going to go, am I proud of it right now? We'll be proud of it 5 years from now. And so I'm mostly thankful for failure, because failure is such a cruel teacher at the same time. If you take those lessons and turn it around and say, you know what, no, I can do this better. I can take this and go further with it. As Jesse was talking about earlier, how we were kind of war buddies at the beginning when COVID hit, and we were fighting tooth and nail to get our books noticed and out there. And we were just kind of going back in DMs, I mean, like, how's your day going? You're like, oh, lost some backers, or, you know, oh, I got this, or like we were sharing in each other's failures and successes day by day. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things that when he put up that fan piece, I was just blown away, because at that point, like, I hadn't really been making any traction, and then suddenly things started kind of happening for me. And so I have to give Jesse a huge amount of props for kind of helping spearhead me back out there, because I just wasn't connecting with people at that point. And you know, sometimes that's what it takes, is someone to come up behind you and just kind of like, you know what, I got you for a minute. Let's help you out. And there's been a group of guys that we call it the pay it forward action, where it's not all about you. It's about all of us here. Like, you guys have this awesome platform right now that you guys are featuring other people. You guys are talking to each other. You just had someone come up here and like, where's my book? And you addressed it right on the spot. That's fantastic. So overall, I'm thankful for this community. I'm thankful for the guys that we get to come around and have this camaraderie. And just to kind of go on a tangent here, Chris, I was looking at your book just a few days ago, and you guys are talking about my art, but you know what? I was enjoying his book a ton, and that was superb. And you do that, you draw that all by yourself, right? If I'm correct, like you do the inks and everything.
Chris does my details. So I'm still a little taken back when people like my stuff. I've really took up art last year, drawing.
Okay.
So crazy.
It was good. It was good. I like the foreshortening, you know, the perspectives, the angles. And one of the things that I love when creators vary up their angles and their shots and all of their pages. Like it's not just a bunch of static images of like two people talking back and forth. And it had a very cinematic draw to it. So to me, I was immediately captivated by the actual book. And I can tell you already, I'll be pushing the next one and backing it and putting it out there. I know it's the same thing with Burlap. Is it read so smoothly and it has such a great flow to it that I mean, you're crazy not to read it. People that are not reading Burlap are stupid. So
seriously, my favorite.
It's my kid lingo.
Burlap so much, man.
That's the quote of the night.
If you're not reading Burlap, you heard it here, guys. If you're not reading Burlap, you're stupid. Nick, you need to put that on a shirt.
Literally, like the next post you gotta make.
That'd be a great.
I have to watch my mouth around my kids.
That's Jesse's next tier for his next Kickstarter. If you don't read Burlap, you're stupid.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris.
I just had one of my older kids come up to me today and say, "You're a butthole." So I'm like, "Oh boy, I'm gonna get yelled at for that one."
Oh, that's all you. Dude, just wait.
Well, we had the F-bomb dropped a few weeks ago, so I know that's my fault. So
kids, man, hell yeah. Like I said, Nick, we're big fans of you, so you're we love having you, so you're welcome here anytime you want. So.
And one thing I want to end on here is just failure is a great thing to don't stop on failure. We can also be thankful for our families, but you also need to be thankful for yourself because you're the one that put yourself there. Not to get all like self-indulgent here, but like if you give up, what are you going to do? There's no book, there's no Burlap, there's no Convictor, there's no grit. There's and Dennis right here talking about getting out there and putting out stuff. There is nothing. And that takes a lot of networking. Like we all have to get out there and talk. Like I'm sure we could all share a story about a creator we met that was just they were. Terrible. And that's why we don't talk to them.
Yes, we can. Yes, we all can. Yep.
I love how that segue went. We don't talk to those guys.
Yep.
I'm a little fried. I have 5. The 5 kids tend to run me wild throughout the day.
I feel you, man. I feel you so much. At one point, they were all living at the house. It was a rough. So
my oldest is 7, so it's
okay. You got a ways to go, homie.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's there. It's happening.
Nick's a busy man.
Yes.
God
yes.
Damn.
Rock on, Nick. COVID's been good to Nick.
Actually, it has
been. We see how Nick quarantines. So.
Here, real quick. Since we touched on Nick and I's journey through Kickstarter, I'm gonna mention one thing. It's my favorite story about Nick throughout this, friendship we've created and getting to know each other. So, as a lot of you guys know, with the Burlap Kickstarter, I did this thing where I said, any backer, no matter who they are, what you look like, you send me your picture, I'll put you in a future book. It might be Burlap issue 10, it might be issue 6 or whatever, but I'm going to put you in there. But I made a point to the guys that really helped me, like Jason and Nick, and I have Dennis's picture on in the file at the top for Postmortem Burlap Volume 2. He's going to be in there next. I'm hilarious because look at that man. How can you not put him in there? But yeah, so I said to Nick, I reached out to him. I'm like, hey, and I'm like, I really want to put you in the book. And I'm like, would you be cool with me having a character look like you? And he was like, oh, that's awesome. Just let me know what I'd be doing, what the character is. And I'm like, this is Burlap, so I have a villain in mind for you. And he goes, oh, well, I have a lot of kids and kids really gravitate towards my work. I'm very involved in church stuff and whatnot. So he's like, I got to be careful with that. And I was like, oh,
yeah, don't read Burlap then. No.
And then I told him, I'm like, well, I'll find something for you later down the road. Because if you've read Burlap, there's a scene in the Old West that actually involves Jason's character. And there's a character with a beard who does some very bad things to a woman. Nick, you picking up on what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking
What
about.
I'm putting down,
bro.
bro.
There's an Old West part, and there's a character who mutilates and brutally kills a couple people. That was originally going to be Nick's face. So I was very glad he warned me about that, where he's like, hey, so if you're going to put me in the comic, I'd love to promote it and stuff like that, but if you're saying villain, I don't know. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's going to happen. Yeah, there's a lot of body parts involved, a lot of big knives. So Nick will be in there eventually, but out of the kindness of my heart, I did not make him the raving psychopath that did end up in the book. So
I'm happy you didn't do that, because at that time you were asking that, I was actually running a youth ministry at my church, and I was the youth pastor. And
okay, well that
so
makes
at the same time,
yeah. Imagine
so,
if I put it on Facebook, tagged you in it, here's Nicholas Mueller in the Burlap book. Oh my God!
Praise Jesus! Yeah.
We gotta find somewhere else to go on Sundays, kids. Yeah, that's my.
Yeah, that was. I could explain that to my pastor and just.
Welcome to Phalanx.
Yeah. And here you are.
How things have changed,
Yeah.
I probably would be in that scene now.
There you go.
All right, Chris.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, it's your turn, buddy.
Take us home.
I took a few notes on this, so I'm gonna.
Oh boy!
refer back to my
Man!
notes.
Oh, here we go.
Well, first, because he's in here, my team, Reach, Obi, who's in here,
Obi in the
house. Brad, who is Caliber, Terrell, Boulder, and Austin, who is Spectre. Ryan Kidd, who plays Bones, we haven't introduced him yet. He'll be coming in a few issues. Most people in here know. For those that don't, my book is 100% based off of the game we play. A completely ripped apart version of Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition that I stripped and rebuilt with Brad. I can't thank those guys enough. They dedicate anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a month just to play with me on a freaking screen. When COVID hit, we moved from yeah.
I was going
when COVID hit, we moved to streaming, and I actually didn't know how that was going to work, but they stay on task, and we create a really cool story. So I can't thank those guys enough, because they really do. They put off their own personal lives 6 hours. I know we're having fun, we're playing our game, but it's really cool that their families and their wives and kids and everything let them do that. So I appreciate them the most. Second, my wife, clearly, because I get to talk smack to her and we're still married. But my wife,
Natalie's awesome. So
we were best friends for 11 years before even getting married. We're going on, I believe, 5 years next year. So she's been a huge supporting factor in this. You can see her art behind me. When I picked up the tablet, actually, Nate has my first tablet. And when I started doing that, work had given me that Samsung as a fans only.
Yeah.
Oh man. So work gave me this Samsung S3 tab that had a pencil. My old job, I used to have to draw maps. I literally crawled underneath in crawl spaces of houses and mapped out your crawl space so it could be waterproofed and fixed. It was a terrible job. I hated it, but it paid well. And they gave me a tablet. So when I quit that job, I was looking at this tablet and I was like, I have nothing to do with it. I was drawing Sharpie pictures of these guys, which I've shown off a few times, and moved on to the Samsung. Well, we really didn't have a lot of money at the time. We were living in my mother-in-law's basement, just trying to save for a house. And after I drew this terrible first issue, I wasn't getting anywhere with the tablet. I saw an iPad on sale, and I said, hey, this might be a little bit better for me. I think, Procreate's a better program for me. I don't know what it was. And she put it on her Best Buy card for me. And even, we share everything, but it was, she supported me on that one. And he really increased my work, because you talk about perspectives and you talk about some of the things you saw in issue 2. A lot of that had to do with, honestly, even Obi is a huge critic. He makes fun of Rob Liefeld on Twitter all the time. In fact, I think Rob blocked him at some point.
Here we go. Obi's in the comments too. Here we go.
Yeah, he'll probably pull those comments up in a minute. But
Obi, you can say whatever you want in these comments, just so you know.
Yeah,
you're good to go, bro.
Yeah, we won't talk about that last one. But
this is uncensored, buddy.
when I first started drawing, I knew that Obi was a huge comic book fan. And so when I went to him with my first idea on a comic, I was honestly really scared of his opinion. And his opinion was, because I was like, oh man, I might be able to grow this and eventually like pitch it to Image. And he's like, yeah, you're probably going to need a new colorist, or, you know, like his comment was clearly, you know, it wasn't up to par. And so I went back to the drawing board and I started working harder and getting a lot of my wife's input. I honestly, I couldn't draw a crotch to save my life. She came in and showed me how to draw crotches.
And now he's an expert crotch drawer, just so we know.
Exactly.
He's very good at crotches. So
that's it.
But he also
that's the next t-shirt.
Chris is like, I hate you guys.
Expert
Chris is like, I'm not coming on ever again.
Make that a cover.
Right. Expert crotch drawer.
Expert crotch.
That should be your profile right there.
It's going to be on her LinkedIn. But she came in and I had some pictures I was doing, some of the early crit work before I even started on the comic. I was drawing just splash pages to get used to drawing the new editions of the characters, and she'd come in and say, well, the leg is too big, or, you know, you're missing an arm, and she would show me what the body was supposed to look like, because other than comic books and movies, I never really had a reference, and she really showed me a lot of that stuff. So as far as my artwork goes, it really goes a lot to them. And then, you know, Terrell incrementally increased my work by literally saying some things were terrible. Even though he's not an artist, he knew what he wanted to look like, and I was done crushing.
Oh, I think there's a double. Is there a double meaning here? I'm just saying.
Stop. Can I like that?
Yeah, like,
what?
He was like, oh,
Natalie is bringing the fire. Holy shit!
What? We just went mature rating right there.
We all need to get our wives in here, man. We all need.
Yeah,
right.
I know. My wife
Wow.
usually jumps in here. It gets a little crazy sometimes.
What?
To her point, she's on every live that I do. She's on every YouTube thing.
Yeah,
she
she's
supports me
super
100%.
Yep. Absolutely.
Best, like, I couldn't thank her enough. So those are, you know, that's two groups of people that I'm very thankful for. I have to really thank also, my notes here. You guys completely threw me off with this stupid stuff. Cristiano, you know, I ink. I draw everything. I do all my flat colors, and Cristiano comes through and just makes it look absolutely amazing.
He's amazing.
He's a monster.
He's a wizard.
He really is.
Fucking wizard.
And he's a lifesaver. So
he is. You know, and I talk to him every day. Every day, we even if we're not working on a book right now, I have a line of communication with him that I couldn't ask for from anybody else. If I send him a message, I literally sent him a message yesterday saying, is there anything I can do better on my end to increase your work? And he said, no, like I put all my colors on separate layers for him. He, you know, I just asked him flat out, is there anything I can do better? And he sent back, like, he just enjoys working with me because we have that line of communication. And so as far as, you know, artistic team, he is my teammate on that, and we've created a really good friendship. I wish he didn't live in Brazil and he lived closer, we could hang out, and, you know, he's such a cool guy. You know, my dad's he's a sarcastic jerk, probably the biggest jerk I know, but next to Jason. And
I was waiting.
But
yes,
the man really helped me get into comics when I was young. He took me to meet, you know, all the guys from Image. My dad, if you know the comic book Cry for Dawn, my dad did work with that guy a little bit. He did I was really little at the time. I was like 11 or 12 when I first started doing artwork, and my dad was doing some faces with him on a Justice League book, and it's Justice League Europe, mid 90s. I don't remember what this was, but him and that guy were working on something together, and he let me work on face expressions. And at
Nice.
12, I honestly was like, I was pretty proud of my work back then. And he said I could work on the eyes, and loved the eye work I got to do with it. And it kind of inspired me for comics later on in life. And when I started this up, he never once, out of everything I've done in my life, the man never once said I couldn't do it. He just was like, oh, that sounds cool. I hope you succeed. And after the first book, he was like, okay, so you're actually legit. You're not just coming up with an idea and then gonna back out on it. And he said he was proud of me on this one. I've toured the world, and I've got 2 albums that you can buy on every platform out there. And he's proud that I self-published a comic book. And I'm going to save that guy for last. Nate and Jack came through in the clutch for me on my last book. I think I call him out every day. Nate and I probably talk almost as much as my wife and I, if not sometimes more. That guy, just him and Jack, if I need help with anything, they're the first ones just to get it done. Since there's just, hey, I need this. Can you get it done? Yeah, dude. 5 minutes later, it's in my inbox and it's perfect. So love those guys to death.
Say it, Dennis. Go ahead, say it.
Say it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna let it go.
He slid in his inbox.
He slid up into his inbox.
Slide in my inbox.
Slide up in his inbox. So sorry. That's a running joke, Nick. We do it all the time. So.
Every
He's seen
time.
it. He's seen it.
I've caught it a few times.
Those 2 Slate Comics, jerks. Slate Comics is doing,
I hate you guys. I'm going home.
I'm done.
Flips the table.
Hey, it was chest day. Remember that.
Yeah, we remember. Don't worry, we remember.
But God, you guys threw me off. They're actually doing issue 0 for me. I saw that Nate was doing his work on a phone, and I contacted everybody in this chat minus Nick. Sorry. And I said, hey, this guy's doing work on a phone that I couldn't even do on a tablet. Imagine if I gave him just my old tablet. So I reformatted.
Amazing. Nate's
and we sent him this tablet down to Australia, and like his work is just 10 minutes, and it's like a book is done. It's ridiculous. And so him and Jack offered to do crit issue 0 for me. That I had sent him the first idea that I had for crit prior to issue 1. I had a PDF that I put online, and I sent it to them, and they're redoing it. I have asked to see some of it. They said they're going to show me some line work this week, so I'm really excited. I've seen like bits and pieces, and it looks freaking awesome. But I can't thank those 2 enough. And my SSB group, the Wolf Pack, you guys, I'll put in my I'm working on issue 3 right now. I'll throw some stuff in there, and I'll get, hey, the head's too small. Okay, well, again, I've only been doing this stuff for a year, so I screw up a lot. And if I can't ask my wife, I send it to these guys, and they've helped me with my perspective. They've helped me grow as an artist and gain confidence. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really 100% confident all the time in my art. When people tell me that they like the stuff I draw, it's still really humbling. So I appreciate that.
I think look at your conjure piece. Your confidence should be. You should have a little confidence. That's a fantastic piece that you did for us. So
There you go.
yeah, there you go. Your confidence is like it's beyond my screen. So you should be up there.
Yeah.
You're killing it,
good,
buddy. Yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate that. That is my by far favorite piece. That's the most work I've ever put in anything. And I promised Jesse I will do a burlap.
I cannot wait for that.
I will do a burlap. It will take me a bit, but I will get it done. I have more. I really want to get. I want to get. So I need to do my submissions for Nate and Jack because I have some cool ideas. I'm actually submitting myself, Chris Vicious. I was a high school wrestler. That was my nickname. So I'm gonna put myself in there. I figure for once I'll create my own character.
Nice.
And I'm gonna call this guy out, Jason.
Who?
You.
Oh, me.
That guy. That guy.
Shit.
You.
I thought you meant some other guy. This guy. Yeah.
I gotta read all these comments. Yeah, Rob Lacko making mad money. Thanks, LB. Thank you. I still take that man's opinion in high regard over anybody. I've known him for like 10 years. And when we first met, I was working at GameStop, and he had this passion for comics that I did. and his hatred for Rob Liefeld.
Obi hates Rob Liefeld. I don't know Obi very well, but I know he hates Rob Liefeld.
I grew up loving Youngblood and these comic books, and to hear him trash them, when I look at my art, I was like, oh man, he's going to hate everything I make.
To Obi's credit, he trashes them with some severe finesse, though. Like his comments are extremely pointed, and then he ain't wrong. He's not wrong. So man's not wrong. So
Obi will forever go down. He put a Youngblood, I think issue 1, like a first edition, in a toilet and peed all over it and sent it to Rob Liefeld.
I said finesse. I take it back.
That's dark.
He's awesome. Now, that's the next level shit. Obi.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
They've been going back and forth on Twitter apparently, and Rob had never blocked him for all the crap he was talking. Finally, he posted that, and Rob blocked him. But then last year on his birthday, I guess somebody got Rob Liefeld to say happy birthday on live Instagram to Obi.
Oh, wow.
But then he also flipped him off in the same comments. So, but yeah, I take his opinion of my work in high regard, even though, we've been best friends for like 10 years. I still appreciate when he just likes some of my work because I know how critical he is. But, Jason, Crit would not be here. Where I wouldn't be in this room. Crit wouldn't have been published twice if it wasn't for Jason. Hands down. I'm just going to say it because we talk about my first Kickstarter. It failed. It fell on its face. I sent out submissions. I've never said this before, but Jesse opened this one. I sent submissions to TKO, Image, Scout, Action Labs. Those are the only ones that I got rejection letters from. I probably sent out 30 submissions and never got anything back. TKO said their piece. I think Action Labs was the only one that said, the story looked intriguing, but it just wasn't for them. It literally just wrote back hats. And so, between that and the Kickstarter failing, I was like, oh man, maybe I suck. But, I talk about it too. When the Kickstarter failed, the first person I spoke to was Jason. I was like, well, man, it failed. And he was like, well, what are you going to do? And luckily I just self-published. And between him sharing my stuff, getting me involved with everybody in our group, and just talking about Crit really motivated me because I literally met him off of a chat on Concrete Comics. And I've said this before, I'm in the music industry. I'm not used to people wanting to see you succeed. And so when he first started talking to me, I was like, what does this guy want? Is he going to try and trash me because my stuff sucks? And I'm looking at, the first digital picture he did of Convictor, the one, like the big one he uses.
The one with the yellow bandolier that everyone copies.
Well, hey,
I draw one yellow bandolier, and next thing you know, everyone's putting a yellow bandolier on him. But
I saw that. I saw his interaction with people, and I was like, well, this guy's obviously doing something right. And I remember his first live that he ever did. He posted about it, and I had just come home, I think, from work or doing something, and I was literally making dinner for my family, and I put his live on my phone, and I was like, wow, this guy's actually a cool dude. And I told my wife, that's a guy.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I heard he's petty. I heard he's extremely petty. But anyway, so
he's not without his flaws, but
yeah, and those flaws are many.
But I mean, I've said it 100 times. You helped me get where I'm at. You introduced me to everybody, and you built up my confidence when literally my book fell on its face. So my entire team didn't believe in me. I remember when I said I was going to do a comic. Obi can probably comment on this. Nobody believed I'd actually try and do it. My wife even said, "Yeah, that sounds like a cool idea. Have fun." And then she's like, "Oh, you're actually doing that." And
I think all our wives have had a moment like that.
Yeah, I think we all did.
Oh, he's really doing it. Oh no.
Hey, when they held issue 1 in their hands, they're like, "Oh, this is actually real now."
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have gotten there without the support, to be honest with you. And speaking to Hunter's Moon, I'm glad to be on the team. And literally, like, half the reason I worked so hard on the letters on my book was because I wanted his book to look good. because you have 146 backers, or 150, whatever your number.
147, yeah.
147. I was at, I think, 46, and so I'm like, my 46 backers are gonna, I'm working my butt off for them, but you have 147. I want to make sure that and some of these people have been waiting 35 years, so I wanted my letters to be up to par for what you're doing, team, and thankful. And I got to call you out, Nick. Like, every time I've seen you, you've mentioned crit somewhere. Like, you've shared my stuff. Like,
Nick is a sharing machine on Facebook. Like, I wanted to, I was
gonna hit one button. That's it.
Now you're awesome. I see it. I see it, Nick. Nick, you're awesome.
You do.
I just hit one button. That's all.
Well, you were on that live with the Crom thing, and like,
oh yeah.
Well, after that, they added me and shared a couple of my things, and so just that little bit of support really does mean a lot.
Yeah.
And to all that, I was talking to I talk about PETA a lot, PETA Comix, PETA Entertainment. Him and I had a call today, and he was talking about our group, and how tight we are, and how he can tell just from our posts that we have this small community. And I met him through Indie Comics Dispatch, and then that's how he heard about Crit. And we had a really good chat today, and it was just kind of cool to see from outside of our group somebody saying, "Oh, you have something cool with those guys." So I'm very thankful, from a creator's aspect of that. I can tell you all day long, I love my family. If you're on my social media, you can see I'm thankful for my wife every single day. But as far as creativity wise, the team that we have in here, that means a lot. And every single one of my backers, and, we can say Jerry 100 times, and T-Bone and Nate.
We love Jerry, even though he likes the Red Ranger, but we still like Jerry. So, he doesn't recognize the Green Ranger as superior, but that's fine. We won't hold that against him.
So when it comes to Power Rangers, I hated Power Rangers because my little brother liked it. And when I was let me finish.
Yeah, see, look, Nick's getting mad too.
Before you get all petty,
don't invite me again. This is too traumatic.
I'm done.
So, I come home and my little brother's watching Power Rangers. Mind you, I didn't even play Pokemon because my little brother liked it. And so finally, I started watching this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh, this is really cool." And we watched the movie, and it was the Green Ranger that got me into Power Rangers. And then we should monetize.
It's the only guy that gets anyone into Power Rangers.
Well, all the monsters, I actually found out when I was little, I had like some Japanese Power Rangers monsters, the woman and her little lion head guy. I had them. It's actually real.
Goldar, yeah.
Goldar. Oh, yeah.
Goldar is a monkey. He's a monkey technically, but I won't hold that against you.
I literally had a Goldar.
Somebody else is going to do it for me. I'm just going to wait it out.
See, Jesse's like, I'm going to sit back and wait. It's coming. And he's a monkey.
I'm still wondering, though, how the Green Ranger played his flute through his mask.
Yeah, through his mask, and it was a flute, but it sounds like a synthesizer. That's amazing, right? God, TV is awesome. Red Ranger couldn't do it. That's all I know. So,
I thought it was just a live action Voltron the first time I saw it. I was like, "Oh, it's Voltron, but live action."
It's close. Yeah, definitely.
But Power Rangers predates Voltron if you go back to the Super Sentai stuff. And,
yeah,
okay.
Sentais have been going on since the 70s, 60s, and 70s, right? Yeah.
You guys are all wrong about this.
The Sentais. Die Rangers, yep.
So yeah, that's my story on Power Rangers. I won't even get on Dragon Ball Z on this one. I think
here we go. No, Chris, you did chess today, but let's not get him started on Dragon Ball. We'll never be able to log off. So he'll be powering up for all the entire episode. So. Hey, real quick, I want to say, since Jerry's in the chat from E4, I want to say congratulations on Shock taking the Indie Comics throwdown. Well done. Well done. Congratulations, my friend. And,
I'm going to announce something real quick since we're on that subject.
Hell yeah, do it, buddy.
In December, we just solidified it's going to be Caliber versus Omen.
Oh,
nice.
Guns, power, chakra, and magic. That should be nuts.
What?
It's going to be interesting. We've been going back and forth on how it's going to work because not many people in the chat probably know, aside from, I think, my creator friends, Caliber is immune to his magic. So, it's going to be funny because he's going to have to. And we were discussing how hot-headed Omen is, so it's going to be interesting to see that dynamic. Because Caliber, once he touches him, no more magic, bud. It's all fists. So it's going to be fun. But yeah, Jerry, awesome job on that. Really proud of you, man.
Yeah,
Shot took
Jerry.
it.
And the write-up is really good for that. It was very well written. And I really got a good sense when I read it of the actual battle that took place. And it was really cool. Very, very cool. So definitely.
I'm
yeah,
excited,
Jerry, no
man.
problem. Yeah, I just want to, I touched off this when I said, but I meant to say too, and not that I didn't mean to say it, but I was just talking from a creator standpoint, but I can't be a creator without my wife. Like I touched on with Warren's comment, I touched on like literally I work long hours. I have a very, my job is stressful. I'm not going to go in. Yeah, I'm not going to go into what I do, but it's stressful. And, and my wife literally, since I've been doing this comic that I've been doing, she literally has picked up the slack on and my wife herself is a medical professional. She's a study coordinator for pharmaceutical drug trials. So my wife has a very intense job herself, and she literally has picked up all the slack that I would normally do, the mundane things that I would do around the house, because I'm literally, when I'm not working, I'm doing this book. And so I couldn't even attempt to do this without her. And she's my greatest supporter. Like, I can't even say that my wife has always been there, no matter whether when I was fighting, professional fighting, or when I then got into professional wrestling, my wife was always there. And she didn't agree with it, but she supported me because my wife's a nurse at first. So she got tired of seeing me not be able to get out of bed after every fight or professional wrestling match the next day. So, so whatever. But my wife has always been a fantastic supporter of mine, and I'm very thankful for her. And she literally, I couldn't be doing what I'm doing right now if it wasn't for her. So, I mean, it's, folks, they don't understand, like you said, people that back comics or purchase comics, they don't understand the work that goes into it, the passion that goes into it, and just the time that goes into it. Comics are not an instant process. They're a creative process. And just like any creative process, there's ups, there's downs, there's obstacles, there's roadblocks, there's creative blocks. There's a lot of things that go into that. So, and my wife she's been there, so I'm very thankful for her. And I got a little, my kids are all older. They're 20, except for my little girl who's 10, my little girl Gabriella. So she, and even then, I'm taking time away from her and time away from my wife to produce this comic for 147 people. And so, I am recognizable. I do recognize that fact. So I just wanted to put that out there. I meant to say that before, but I got off into another tangent, which I tend to do. So.
But. Comic books has done something for me as a dad that I want to just say. It's actually given me something with my daughter that we connect on. I got her a comic book this week because she's, trying to write and draw her own now. And her friend,
Gabrielle, is too. Yeah, you're inspired.
Well, the little girl next door that my daughter's friends with, we found out is really good with anime art. Like, I'm blown away. I gotta get. She's like 11. I didn't want to just take pictures of her stuff and post it for her. But my wife and I were talking about having them write and do this, and I'll get it on the website and stuff so they can get it out there and maybe monetize some of it. But it's given my daughter and I something that's kind of unique. Like, she's over there, she comes to me every day. What do you think of this character? And she draws animals. Like, when I introduced the character Madison Smith, it's actually based off my daughter. She's got like a hoodie and a backpack, and the backpack's got a bunny in it, and she's all about animals and stuff. But she's drawing these magical animals, and she wrote this story about dragons and these 3 dragon sisters that are like battling it out, and it's a really intricate, cool story. I helped her like refine some of the fine parts of it, but she, she's got this cool idea, all because the comic books. And when I got Crit 2, she was the first one that read it. I gave it to her, and she's like, "Oh, can I read it?" She's sitting down with this copy, and if you've read the book, the line where he says, "Of course, I'm going to back it. I'm going to back up and hit it again and again and again and again." And she just kept reading that over and laughing the entire time. And, no matter what anybody says about my book or how much you talk about the art, like, that moment, I felt the most complete ever when my little kid was just laughing over a line in my book. That was it. That was the best feeling. That I could be more thankful for that.
to tag off with you, that same thing happened with Gabriella. Like I was drawing before I got on Hunter's Moon, I was drawing Resurgence, and Gabriella got very inspired to draw, and she created like seriously. If you go on my timeline on my Instagram, you'll see like Sunstar, Creeper Reaper, Dr. Twist. That's all Gabriella's characters, and there's some really awesome characters. There's some really cool characters, to the point where like I really miss having that little kid creative brain. And so she really is pumping them out. She has books like, I was showing the names of all the characters I created last night on Crossfire. My kid has like easily 200 of her own already. She's just writing stuff out, and she's writing little things about them. And, and that really helped us bond over that. It really did. And I will tell you a little fun piece about Hunter's Moon. Gabriella is my editor. Now, mind you, there's certain things I don't show her because Hunter's Moon does have some, stuff, and some stuff, and but I do show her because I figured if my 10-year-old daughter can follow the panels and know what's going on without dialogue, anyone can follow those panels. So I literally call her my editor. I'll call her up to where I'm drawing, and I'll say, hey, look at this. When I finish a page, what do you think's going on? And most of the times she follows step by step, and she figures out exactly what's going on. And so we've bonded a lot over that, and I totally feel you, Chris. I absolutely 100%. So
we scared Dennis off. He hates us now. So it's my Dennis, comment about Power Rangers. It's been making
Dennis
him
is
mad.
Dennis
he's doing push-ups.
No, that's exactly what he's doing right now. He's doing deadlifts off the quarter. So, but
oh man,
yeah. So really, also Nick, something I want to do for you is as soon as I'm done Hunter's Moon, because you did it for me, I definitely got to do some fan art of either Demon Hunter Raven or the Crusader or both, because I love the looks of both characters, and I got to draw them. I've been wanting to draw them, but there's a lot of stuff I want to draw, a lot of fan art, but man, like this book is literally sucking my time away. I can't do all the cool. There's so many cool contests that are coming around. Like, Slate Comics has a contest, and ACI has a contest, and I want to get in these, and I got to get this book finished. And but yeah, I mean, I got to draw that, and then having the the armor of God that he has and all that stuff like that really resonates with me. And I'll tell you separately, because I said similarities are unreal. Like going on in my Convictor books, you'll see there's a lot of similarities between what you're doing and what we're doing eventually. So in our overall arc, and I love the stuff, man. I love it all. I got to draw for sure.
I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
I read through your book like 2 or 3 times the other day because I wanted to get a feel for everything. I always read 2 or 3 times to make sure I pick up everything. If I really like the book, I'll read it a few times. If there's one Animal Heads. We won't go into that one, but yeah, I read through your book a bunch.
And there it is.
I've been following your stuff for quite a while, and
that's not good.
Well, with the Kickstarter, I was like, oh man, like I gotta, I want to read through this. I really, now I see a lot more similarities. And yeah, I mean, your Demon Hunter Raven is on my list because I would love to see a picture of him and Spectre next to each other. For some reason, when I see the two of them together, I just see like a really cool team up with the two of them.
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah, I think all of our characters have a very
for real
like one of those early, like someone brought up that like we need to bring back those early Marvel team ups where it just felt like anything was possible, where like everyone could jump into this, and it was just a fun, fantastic time. I mean, like I think we're right in that hot spot right now. That if we like, it's the pot is the pan is hot.
Yeah. We knew what you meant. Don't worry. It's all right.
Okay, we're all pretty fast.
Yeah, I've been meaning to. It's on my list. I literally have a whiteboard of things I want to draw, and that's on there.
Same.
I gotta do something with Slate. Like I really want to actually draw Omen. I think I'm gonna draw Omen and Caliber. I don't know if I had the time or the.
Omen has been sitting on the back burner for me too. I've just been ever since he posted that, I was like. I was low key jealous. I was like, "Oh man, I wish I designed that. That is so freaking sweet." That is so cool.
Yeah,
and then the Convictor too.
yeah.
Like,
And Omen has a magically charged chakra, for God's sake.
Yep.
Like a chakra. Like, I mean, when I saw that, I was like, Xena Warrior Princess. I'm like, bro, that's a chakra. And he's like, Nate's like, you're right, it is. And he's like, I don't know if it's going to survive through the comic. I'm like, it better survive, because you don't see those in comics anymore.
No, those are hard to draw too. I mean, if he's doing that all the time, props to you, Nate, because you freaking suck how awesome you are.
Like, Nate will send me something, hey, I'm warming up, and I'm like, I can't even get that after 3 hours of drawing. What are you talking about for warming up? Like, the man is a machine, and I think the community as a whole is blessed to have him as part of it, because he does fan art for everything.
He does.
And I'm going to say this probably for the first time. When he did the thing for Convictor, because that's how I found out, because he did a piece for Convictor first, and I was like, oh, that's really good. And I start following his stuff, and I'm like, oh wow, this guy's like really awesome. And I was like, I never ask anybody to do any of my characters, but I love seeing their art style. Like for instance, my favorite Caliber helmet, Jason's. I'll never draw Jason's, but I love that helmet. And I was like, oh man, I really hope he draws my guys someday. And he sends me, right when the Kickstarter kicks off, he sends me a picture that he did on his freaking phone, and they're all like,
Nate's a machine, man.
It was like a little kid moment for me, and I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was down with COVID. I actually had it the day the freaking Kickstarter launched. I'm sick with COVID. My Kickstarter launched like late. I actually had no faith in anything because my first one failed. I'm like, everyone's burned out on Kickstarter.
Chris, who was your first backer on Kickstarter? Do you know?
Some jackass,
some petty asshole, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. I was just making sure. Sorry.
Well, I'm pretty sure I was also the first backer.
Was it Dennis?
No, that was actually me. Dennis is the nicest guy you know. Me, I'm the petty asshole. Petty asshole. I am the petty asshole. So to that point, I had just bought my house. It was the first day we're working on my house. I'm in Lowe's with like $2,000 worth of crap because we had bought a rental property and we were fixing it up. And my wife's in line paying for everything, and I'm like, I gotta back this book. I'm sitting there. I have the card in my hand. I'm carrying all this crap, and I'm like waiting for Hunter's Moon to refresh because he's like, oh, it's live. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. It is not. I'm like, I'm gonna be the first.
I was like, where is it? It's the time.
Yep. And I was like, I gotta be the first one. And I already knew which package I wanted. Just went down there like mine. And I texted him, I'm like, first package. And then my wife looks at me like, really? And she's like,
that's what we do. That's what we all do for each other. So that's just what we do.
So yeah. But yeah, when that Kickstarter launched, man, like I get this message from Nate, and I was like, oh, this guy's drawing my stuff now. And now he's doing issue 0. I'm like a little kid. Like I love that guy's work. I love everything Nate pumps out. Like he'll send me, hey, I'm doing just a warm-up piece. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'm like, that thing is amazing. You know, I see his, I feel blessed to see some of his work for Omen. And I think, there's certain
it's going to be big
community that I think we're blessed to have. You know, he's one of them because not only is he working on his own stuff, but he supports everything that everybody does and literally like creates it. Like, hey, I have this idea for a character that, you know, looks like this. And then the next day he's made it. He's drawn it. He's like, oh, here's your guy. You know, when I'm working on issue 3 right now, and I had designs for my 4 big bad guys, but when I drew them, you know, again, my book's really based off D&D. I drew these like D&D style characters for my campaign just so my guys could see what they look like. For the book, I wanted to redo them. And I'm talking to Nate. I'm like, yeah, you know, I got to redo this Zaka character. I don't know what to do with him. Next thing I know, he sends me like something that looks like the Mask, but like evil and awesome. I'm like, oh man, it's like a voodoo mask guy. That's freaking awesome. And he designed my character Bones, hit a brick wall with that. And like, yeah, we're blessed to have Nate. So thank you, bud.
Yeah, I will tell you about Nate. Like Nate is, speaking of, boy, I cannot type. I just typed in the comments and that looks like, oh, that's horrible. But anyway, I chugged a giant beer. That happens. But I had the Crossfire last night and I was showing those old characters and I came across that medieval version of the Convictor. Nate's like dibs drawing it. So he's like, I'll have it tomorrow. And when he says that, you know, but when Nate says it, you're like, Yeah, I'm literally gonna have that tomorrow. So that's just
Well, he's in the future, so
he
just
is. He
remember
lives in the
that.
future. So
It
his
doesn't
tomorrow
matter.
is my
Yeah.
past. So it's kind of these weird things. But yeah, he did that, and Dennis got dibs on some character. Dennis, what character did you call dibs on
I
from
got
last
Terror
night?
Shark, man. Terror
Terror
Shark.
Shark, yeah.
Hold
Terror
on,
Sharks
hold
are
on.
cool.
Yeah, he's right over here. I
Terror
saved his
Shark's
picture.
impressive. Yeah, Terror
Hold
Shark's
on.
a scary dude,
He's
man.
right there.
Yeah,
See
I
that?
might throw
I
him.
got him.
I can see that
I
dude
won't-
swimming around the Bay Area
That's my guy.
of Gut City.
I
Yeah,
gotta do
he's-
something from that because you threw up. There, I won't lie. I was actually on a roof listening to your stuff.
I know you were. I know what you were doing.
I was feeling a hole in the roof, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like sitting there with the rain on my freaking phone. I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. Dang it, I got to get some of those pictures from you because there was some of the He-Man style guy with the neck. I want to do that.
Yeah, he's like a Pez
Oh,
dispenser. Yeah.
Spizer. Yeah.
Spicer Visor.
Yeah, Spizer Visor. That's a clever name. It's trademarked. No one can take it.
He-Man absolutely 1000% will be. I don't care how flamboyant and rainbow-esque that thing was. Like it was my favorite comic, favorite cartoon, favorite movie.
Nate was saying last night. He's like, when I was drawing the Spider Clan ninja from way back when, he's like, so they're basically the ninja from G.I. Joe. I'm like, and then Chris is like, how else are you gonna draw ninja in the 80s, man?
Yeah.
That's just what they look
Fucking
like.
ninja. Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, that's all. That's what they look like.
The Foot Clan was the same thing. You look at the
Yeah,
Foot
of course
Clan,
they were. So was the Hand from Daredevil. They all look the same. And yeah, it was so funny. But go ahead, bro.
Oh, look. So if you go through like the Foot Clan, and then God, there was a stupid cartoon I was watching the other day from the 80s. Like they literally would share, and I've watched this. I've watched some of the making. They would share some of the screens they were on production level. So like, oh, well, this kind of fits. So we're just going to color it.
You see a lot of the backgrounds are the same in a lot of these older 80s cartoons. Yeah.
They're all hand drawn 100%. You got guys sitting there in studios, and I've watched the making of He-Man or the behind the scenes thing probably like 3 or 4 times because it's really cool to watch. And these artists were just given here's He-Man, and like when they got the picture, like, oh, what's his name, like Conan the Barbarian, no, his name's He-Man.
Well, really quick,
no idea.
Jerry, I got a comment. Jerry asked me this last night. He's like, we should all form like one mega group, kind of like what Concrete's doing. And I said, hey, you never know. So I said, we like having our respective universes, but we're not Jesse, Chris, Slate guys. We're not opposed to doing something universe. We have a lot of similarities. So we did talk about, never know. There could be some massive, and then we got Nick with his awesome, it could be some massive indie comic thing going. You never know. And so I definitely feel you, Jerry. I understand where you're coming from for sure. Thank you for that.
I feel, in speaking to the Concrete and the joining, I would feel like we're already successful independently, just putting us in the same group, promoting as a group.
Hey, Nick's back.
There he is.
Yeah. Nick had to step away and take a couple deep breaths. He wasn't sure what he got himself into.
My battery is almost dead. So I have to recharge here.
But we have so many similarities in the universes. It only makes sense for us to support, and so I couldn't imagine if we actually all combined forces, how huge that would be. I've thought about that 100 times.
Yeah, we have talked about it. You never know what's going to come in the future, so you definitely never know. But I think right now we're all happy doing our independent thing. But I will say, and I can speak for all of us here, there are threads that are common, and we've talked about that. So these common threads can definitely be explored at some point for sure. And that would be, I think we would literally, not to quote, not because it was the name of one of my tiers in a Kickstarter, but we would change the game if all of us came together and made some massive universe spanning comic. Like actually Wingless is doing something very similar right now with their Nightfall. Brian Lambert and Wingless and Concept Moon, those guys are doing their Nightfall thing, and I think that's 4 individual titles that are having this massive part 1 and a part 2 universe spanning thing going on, like a massive thing for them. So yeah, it's definitely possible, and I would never say no to it. That's for sure. I don't think any of us would. So
I would.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know. Originally, you were probably on board, but now he's like,
Not anymore.
Probably not. So,
these guys suck.
He's like, I don't think I'm ever coming on again. Like, I don't know.
One and done.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything.
Well,
But could you imagine the contrast, though, of having like Demon Hunter Raven and Burlap side by side? Just the extreme.
That'd be so
extreme
cool.
end of the spectrum between Drayton and man, because I mean, Dino, Nick, your character has a very specific code. He has a very specific moral track, and then you got Drayton or Burlap, who has
boom.
He has his own, but his own is literally like completely different. So
yeah, two forms of justice right there.
Yeah. Oh my God,
forms.
two ends of that spectrum for sure. Like I could, Drayton wouldn't even think twice of just like shanking a dude up underneath the chin. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, but he was saying he was sorry. So,
what you gonna do?
now, he's sorry now. So
like reading these books and seeing the different personalities, with Drayton, I let Brad, Caliber read that book, and he's like, oh, I can see some of this stuff. Like Brad, Caliber is a very extreme form of Brad. Brad's a police officer, so when we're in these later on the games or the books, you're going to see him actually interrogate people, and he just literally pulls out a car battery. He's like, we're just going to do this, and I just see a lot of that, like with the Drayton stuff. Like, he wouldn't. I could see. Caliber would be behind Drayton being like, do it.
I don't even know if Drayton would hook you up to the battery. He'd beat your skull in with it. Like, I just like, I just probably be like, well, blunt force trauma seems to be the way to go right now. So with this battery, like, I could totally see that. And that's why Jesse and I always laugh, because the Convictor and Burlap are very close when it comes to that stuff where, their ideology is like, well, I could just flatten this guy's skull right now, and I could worry about the questions later. Or if this guy gives me a reason to do this, it's just gonna be a particular way. You know what I mean? And Caliber that's why I can't wait to do that crossover we're doing, Chris, the CNC Murder Factory and book, because very much so. Convictor is very much like Burlap. He's very set in his, he's a very specific tunnel vision way that he does things. And then you got Caliber, who's totally like shoots from the hip. He's got shit to say. He's doing all this stuff, and he's just like, hey, it would be more fun if we put the grenade in this guy's mouth. Stuff like that. And I think that contrast is going to be probably the best part of that crossover. But when Convictor and Burlap get together, it's just going to be two guys, like two freight trains running the same direction, decimating everything in their path. You know what I mean? It's going to be like that too. So I love those two completely separate spectrums. Like I just can't wait for those.
There is one character I'd love to see anybody.
Yeah, definitely, Jeff.
If Boulder were to ever meet anybody's character, I think honestly, Demon Hunter and Boulder would get along better than anybody.
Absolutely,
because Boulder has that like moral code.
Yeah.
We did I don't know if you saw, but last time before we played, I was trying to get an idea. And I was like, all right, I like alignment. And if you're familiar with D&D, like we have an alignment chart, and I'm trying to hold them to that, because these characters we're at level 10 in the game, which is pretty big milestone. And I'm like, we have we've established you, like, so Reach out the gate is chaotic evil. You don't see it a lot, but the man is literally like Walter from Fringe.
Nice.
And then Boulder comes in, he's like, well, I'm gonna be lawful good. I'm like, nobody can be lawful good. Even it's almost impossible. So he's
Superman,
like
maybe. Yeah.
Well, he's a chaotic good character. And he's like, I don't want to break from that. It's where I'm gonna. And if you look at chaotic good, it's as good as really any of us could ever try to be. Because you have to sometimes bend a little bit to the situation.
In the old D&D, wasn't Lionheart in the old D&D game, the toys and stuff, wasn't Lionheart like he was chaos? He was lawful good, right? What I'm talking about? Yeah, that guy. Yeah.
I think he's a paladin of some kind.
He was a paladin, yeah.
And you have to follow your oath and everything. And, just so sometimes when I read people's books, like any character I come across, I'm like, what alignment would you be? I always try to find that alignment. Yeah. I love seeing the character in that. I don't know. Maybe it's my dungeon master.
Chris,
head.
tell us the alignment. All right. So what's Demon Hunter Raver's alignment? Like, let's settle on it. What is it? What's his alignment?
Honestly, he probably would be chaotic good. I've read in the book he'd fall in line with chaotic good because he try to do he follows his code. He does good things, but he understands sometimes bad people do good things.
Right.
And that's important. I think that's what does differentiate a chaotic good character from a lawful good character. Lawful good, you do good 100% of the time. If you do bad, you're a bad person. Chaotic good, you kind of see, hey, I actually challenge my guys with this somewhere in the story. That's a really big piece of my story, so I'm not going to give it away. But they were kind of just going nuts. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to put some really hard situations for them with good people doing really bad things because they have to. Because it's where we're at in society right now. There's a lot of very people in really tight situations that aren't doing things that I would say are the best. And I was like, so what would you do if you came across this? And you see Caliber and doing what Caliber would do anyway, but Boulder had to face this reality that and I think he knew this to begin with, but it's hard for him to play this lawful good character, and I wanted to show him that. And it was really cool to see that. Convictor would be chaotic evil or chaotic neutral. Sorry, chaotic neutral. No, he'd totally be chaotic neutral because I haven't seen him face off against any he doesn't. He does things with conviction, So and that's where Spectre and Caliber are both their chaotic. And then Burlap would totally be chaotic.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yep.
I could see like with Burlap and Convictor, like I could see them both trying to find the most efficient but yet brutal way to end someone. Together. Like I could see there being like a one-up contest, in between them, be personality wise. Yeah. But then if the Convictor were to go with Nick's character with Demon Hunter Raven, it would be a complete contest. Like it would be a complete because Nick's character would just be like, there's two different sets of mentalities here.
I can see them fighting.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And but yet your Crusader character, I think the Crusader and Convictor would have a lot more similarities.
They'd be best friends.
Yeah, I think so as well. And that's why
I beers together and everything.
I think that's why I gravitate towards the Crusader as a character. Honestly, I could see that for sure.
I gravitate to Demon Hunt, the Raven character, because he just reminds me so much of the things that I want to do in a character. Like when I saw the design, I'm like, oh man, like it was that moment you had. I was like, how did I not think of that? Like
I love
it.
It's
I love the blue skin. I know it was said earlier, but I'm a huge fan of Star Wars and Thrawn. Amazing.
Thrawn for sure. Yep.
And I saw blue skin, and I'm like, oh man, it's like a Thrawn ninja.
He is. He's so cool. Like I loved it. And you know what? There's something to love about a character in a white suit. You know what I mean? It just carries a certain ambience with it. As a character, like you see someone wearing white. I mean, that's why I lean towards like Moon Knight and how you see, but Moon Knight's completely the other opposite spectrum.
He's insane.
He's insane. Cool. Yeah, he's talking brutal. But but you wear a good clean white costume with really fantastic lines. Like that is primo for me as a creator. And when I first saw him, a year ago or so, I'm like, this character he's sleek. He's very sleek. And like the blue skin was just icing for me with that, and a katana on top of it. Come on, bro. So it's good. And he has tassels. Come on. That's my jam right there.
Well, that was kind of the fun thing is I designed him to at least be somewhat like if he were to jump into the MCU, he would be like movie version already. Like I got that high caliber artist Datra Ini to do kind of a fake mock-up, like how the Marvel artists will do those concept drawings, and they'll do like how Chris Evans would look like in his suit. So I hired him on the spot. I was like, can you do something that would make him look realistic? Like, that actually ended up helping me kind of redefine a few things. And then I got Robert Nix to kind of simplify the core concept more. Because I mean, my design was the idea there. And then I had several other guys kind of come along with me and just be like, why do you have that there? I was like, I don't know. What do you see that I don't see? And it's always good to have like other guys bounce things off you. Like Chris was talking earlier with Odie, like just constantly like, my biggest always thing is I'm happy, but what about 3 months from now? Am I still going to be happy with that? So always just keep trashing it. Always just keep picking it apart.
I do that with Spectre a lot. I honestly like Spectre and Obi. If you know, I've said this a few times. Obi, I think, had 2 designs. Literally, one, he didn't have a mask, and then 3. So the first one, I just drew Obi as a person in a trench coat with he had a robot arm, because in D&D the character class he had actually had like a robot arm. We had to get rid of that real quick, because after I drew it, I'm like, dude, we because Obi as a person looks very similar to Doc Ock. And I'm like, he's just Doc Ock. I can't do this anymore. But everyone said he had to keep the trench coat, which I hate drawing, but I keep it on there. So I start, redefine the character a little bit. And then I draw this ridiculous mask that I hate drawing. And I'm like, man, can we do with this? And he's like, no, I love the mask. Everybody loves the mask, so I can't get rid of it. And then I've asked a few times, do we want to revise this? No, we'll keep and reach the same. Okay, fine. I won't argue anymore. I've succumbed to this 7 dots on each side thing that I've made. So then I go to Spectre. I drew him as a demon. I have like 15 or 20 different pictures I drew of this kid, because Austin, huge anime person, never into comics. And finally I drew him. I'm like, well, fine, I'll just put you in a jacket and a hoodie. Are you happy? Oh yeah, I really like that. I'm like, so I asked, Brad the other day, I'm like, should we ever redo Spectre? He says, no, it's the most simple design, and he's a kid.
No, I like clean designs like that. I really do.
Makes sense.
Even Caliber's suit is clean. It's clean to me. It doesn't have a whole lot of stuff on it. You know what I mean? The lines are good.
Yeah.
Like sometimes we'll talk about Lightfield a little bit, but when you add like 7 million, there's a character floating right now in indie comics. I'm not going to mention, but someone draws a character that has 1,000 pouches, massive grenades on his shoulders, and all this stuff. He's got. All right, I know it's comics. Yeah, I know it's. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. I know it's comics, and I get it. But if you have all this stuff, like functionality alone, how are you going to move? How are you going to move as a character? How are you going to, move tactically, or even like be proficient in whatever your skill set is? That's too much stuff. And that's even with the Convictor. Like he doesn't have a lot. He has some, but there's guys I see with like all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, from a guy who literally wears tactical gear and a plate carrier vest and carries, rifle, all this stuff for my job. I'm going to tell you right now, you're not doing shit wearing that. So you are literally a target. And
but most people that are designing don't think of that though, because they're thinking cool, they're thinking kick ass, and then when you actually go into the practical part of it, that you will totally destroy anything. And I think it's really hard to blend the practical with just cool.
I experienced that very recently, where I made all the burlap heads, like the busts and the actual physical mask, and I put pictures of it up on Instagram. And one fan, a big supporter, I don't remember the exact account, but he's like, "Oh, I love the books. It's a great series." He's like, "But looking at the actual mask, those stitches over the eyes would be terrible. Like it'd be so hard. How does he see?"
Well, Drayton's got a little bit heightened abilities though, so he's got that going for him. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, boy.
Cross stitching across his eyes, he can see.
You got to be like, read the comic, bro. He can see.
So. Well, I've actually had, like, for the Kickstarter video for the Burlap Volume 1 Kickstarter, for that video, a actor, one of my buddies who played Burlap in the video, he wore the mask, and it was extremely uncomfortable for him. So I was just thinking about that when that guy posted that comment, like, oh yeah, well that was tough for him, like with the stitching over the eyes. And I'm like, but Drayton's got it, he's got all kinds of stuff going on underneath that mask. He can see just fine. So you find yourself justifying those kinds of aesthetic looks opposed to practicality.
well, back to
I think as long as it works, though. I mean, that still works. I mean,
and that's how I feel about from Nick's character. Like, his lines are smooth. Like, you can see that this guy he can move the way he's moving. He can fight the way he's fighting, because he doesn't have, he's not carrying a lot of bulk. You know, it's armor. You can get the sense it's armor. You know what I mean? But it's also malleable. It's flexible. You know, you also understand it's otherworldly through the story, so you get that. And so I personally like that. I don't like bulks and giant pads and all this stuff. You look at the Convictor. He's got a bodysuit and he has just some he has pauldrons and he has knee pads, and the rest of it's pretty sleek. Because I'm saying the guy's is a ninja as well as a professional soldier in his former life. So he's got to reflect that in his character design. That's how I went with it. So I wanted to honor that. So I want to make sure that this guy can literally do the things that I'm going to have him do in the book. And that's how I feel about all of our characters. I think they're all well designed, and for sure.
So you mentioned caliber, and it's funny because when Brad gave me the idea, and I asked him what he wanted to look like. The first thing was he just said, make me look like a normal soldier guy, which you got the green thing that I drew. Well, after I start working on the second book, he says, have you ever heard of a Vindicare assassin from 40K? And I avoid 40K like the plague because it's a money pit, and my dad dropped like $4 grand a month on little. So he sends me this. I don't know if you can. There we go. This is what Brad sends me, and you look at the helmet, and he says, "That's what I want to look like." I'm like, "This is a superhero book, and you want to look like a Death Knight." Okay. So the first thing I did was I had to nail
ain't nothing wrong with that.
Well, I nailed the helmet first. I was like, all right, let me design a helmet.
Yeah.
And so we got his helmet design down, and then as I start drawing. To me, I thought I drew like an Iron Man Deadpool. And I'm like, oh, he's going to hate this. This is garbage. Like, I did like 4 or 5 different versions of the same thing in different colors. He's like, oh, the red and the gray. And originally had blue bracers. And then, so we're halfway through this book. And he's like, hey, can we change all my bracers to bronze? I want them to be bronze. Why? I don't know. I just like the color bronze. Like, literally. So I'm literally at the end of book 1, and I have to go back and change every bracer to
I would have
bronze.
said no.
I don't know.
They're blue. You'll get them bronze in the next book.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I had to add that neck piece on the next one. I felt if you look at the first book to the second book, Brad gets this like neck piece. And it's because I was drawing those shoulder things, because originally we were going to have knives and grenades on there. And as I was looking at it, to me as a creator, I felt like it was just too much Deadpool because of his personality, and then having those 2 pieces. I was like, I just want to get away from that. I never want to be compared to, even though I don't feel like he looks like it, but anybody that has a red character with that attitude and then grenades and other weapons, I was like, he's going to be compared. I need to set him apart. So I had like
compare you anyways. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that happens.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, as much as that might not be what I want, being compared to a Deadpool is like in personality and look. I mean, it's never going to be a bad thing because it's one of the biggest characters out there. I mean, Rob Liefeld made his career on it, so
technically half of it.
He never made
That's like the subtopic of today's live is Rob Liefeld.
Apparently, we're gonna have to start the next Phalanx to be Rob Liefeld. Let's just get it out of the way.
Exactly. So please don't, because
finger on social media.
Obi will come in with dual guns blazing, the whole fist. Obi will come in with.
I was driving to Tennessee on Friday, and my phone is blowing up. And literally, I don't know if Obi was bored or something. 30 pictures of the most terrible Rob Liefeld work ever, and he's just like we have a creator, it's where we pretty much plan our games, and we just it's for pretty much us to like talk. But Brad's at work, Terrell's at work, and they're both like, man, like, can you stop? Like, what's going on? And he's like, no, this is just terrible. Here's the Captain America, and he's like,
oh, not that one.
Well, he starts pointing out where Rob Liefeld tracing.
Yeah, cap tits. Yeah.
New Mutants into Youngblood, and then
the best.
he's drawing the eye wrong for where he, like the different eyes that he had the different eye lit up and everything. He's like, it's his garbage, and I don't know what he was doing. He probably stayed at home. I don't know, but like, man, please don't. If we have a chat dedicated to that, we'll just have Obi, and we'll just grab popcorn.
Hey, I'm a big Liefeld fan, so I'll take that.
Yeah,
side.
we know. I know. Yeah, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to talk complete shit. Like Liefeld really, he's done a lot of fantastic things. So I mean, you can't really take that.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. He's like, you can agree that his art might be bad in some areas, but also what he's done in terms of actually building foundational parts of the comic industry, like no one can compare to that. Like he's got like a weird two-sided thing where like his knowledge of and the verboseness of the history of comics is like, I mean, not a lot of people can compare, but if you want to compare art, I mean, no.
Right.
The thing that gets me is when he sends his inker a page with no feet or hands, expecting the inker to draw the hands. Yeah. But I watched he has a Robices or whatever his chats are, and he had one on DC. And when we were driving to Tennessee, I was like, well, my wife said the weekend was all about me and I could do whatever I want. So I forced her to listen to Rob Liefeld talk for an hour and a half. And what I was hoping,
she'll never say that again.
Well, that was a mistake.
She likes to know about what I'm doing and she likes to be involved. So she was fairly interested in some of it. And it was funny because I'm listening to Rob Liefeld and then Obi's blowing up my chat. And I didn't know that he couldn't have known that I was listening to it unless he's actually reached and he's tapping my phone. But so we're sitting there listening to it and I'm expecting a chat about DC Comics and all this stuff. What I'm getting is my wife said this to me as we're listening. She goes, I didn't expect to hear about how great he was for 30 minutes. He was listening to resume for, I've done this and I've done this. And I'm like, I don't care what you've done. You're Rob Liefeld. Everybody knows what you've done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Captain America's famous. Come on, that double chest. But then finally we hear about what he thinks about what's going on in DC. So he has knowledge, he has experience, and honestly, like some of his runs I've really enjoyed. Like some of the stuff he did for the New 52 was some of the better stuff. Like I'm a big fan of his Deathstroke, and then he brought Lobo in there, and the Hawkman thing, like the deal with like the Nth Metal. He talked about that a little bit. I thought that was cool. Like he had Nth Metal in there as important, and then we have it in Mandalorian now. It's like very similar story.
Yeah, the best scar. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we can't deny the man's influence, but at the same time, he did create a book on Kickstarter that he never made. So I will hold him on.
No,
to
he did. He did fulfill that finally. Yeah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it was like 2 years ago he ended up fulfilling it. He brought it to a convention and people could meet him there. And then I don't know if he ever shipped it though. So.
Yeah, then there's that.
So there was like a really weird sort of like, I'm doing it, but I'm not doing it.
I'd love to have him do a cover for me once, just so all my characters can have the same face, because that's my one critique. Every face is the same.
He actually offered to do a cover for someone I know, which is really? It's the punch. So the guy that did my cover, Matthew Weldon, he accidentally stumbled upon their work called Punchline, not DC's Punchline, the original Punchline that came out. And he offered to do a cover for them, and then I never heard anything about it afterwards because it's all through the grapevine. But I mean, that blew up big, and that got them some notoriety. So supposedly, Rob offered to do a cover, but I don't know if he ended up doing it.
Oh wow,
it's Rob. So who knows?
Can you guys believe it that we're over 2 hours already?
This has been actually a really good chat.
It's been a really good one. They're getting better and better. I can honestly say that, and not because it's hours, but it's over 2 hours already. It's crazy. So I guess it's probably smart to wrap it up, but
I'm cool. I was just gonna say, out of the creators from like the mid '90s that I really do enjoy, I've always loved Brian Pulido.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Evil Arnie.
Yep.
My dad actually knew Brian at some point, and because my dad was just this huge networking person, he knew Twisted Sister, like literally went on tour with Metallica, and so my dad knew Brian. and introduced me to Evil Ernie. And honestly, like Evil Ernie was one of the first
Ernie's a
comic
good character. Yeah,
he's an awesome character. And Lady Death and
Lady Death blew up, man. Lady Death, all those '90s characters when Wizard was popular, like Witchblade and the Darkness. They're just. I think that we cut our teeth on a lot of those characters. I know Jesse won't say it, but his dad is friends with Jason Momoa. So just putting that out there. Yeah, that's right, Jesse. Someone was gonna say it. So Jesse's very humble. He won't say it, but I'll say it. Yeah, it's cool. They're pretty tight. They're pretty tight. Yeah.
Actually on YouTube now. It's the commercial my dad did with Momoa and his group of friends, the Frozen Few, they're called in that circle. And it's awesome. It's a really great video. If you go on Jason Momoa's YouTube page, it's like a commercial for like the Red whatever camera. And it turned out great. So cool while he was doing that. But that's all I'll say about that.
Jason is very high on Jesse's father. He's very Jesse's father's a bad dude. He's not a bad dude in a bad way. He's definitely a legend in his own right for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it called Red Komodo? Is it Red Komodo? And is that what the red? I'm on his page now. I might as well look at it.
Yeah. I have no clue. It might have been, but I'm not 100%.
What's your dad's Instagram's like Knuckle Duster or something, right, Jess? Something like that. Knuckle Buster. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
gotcha.
Hey Jesse,
he's a real deal, man.
My wife might hit you up to meet Jason. That's like her star crush right there next to Chris.
I'll tell you right now,
all the girls. Zack Snyder's like, I got the Snyder cut. Here's 15 extra seconds of Jason Momoa, no shirt. I know I'm not stupid.
All I have is pictures of Momoa drinking beer, like out in New York with my dad. That's all I got.
That's all right. That's the best shit right there, man. All right,
man, I do have to say though, they really, really had an opportunity to have the best Lobo, and they put him at, he's a good
but he would have been a fantastic Lobo for sure.
I still go with what's his name, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, kind of like not campaign, but like he said in an interview, I would love to play Lobo. I think that was another missed opportunity.
I want that guy as Thomas Wayne. That's who I want.
Oh yeah,
he is Thomas Wayne.
He is, man. Literally,
Was that great Lobo?
But so we want to go. All right, we want to go around and promote what we got to promote, and we can wrap this bad boy up. Since Nick is our non-regular guest, hope to be a regular at some point. Nick, take it away. You tell everybody where to find you, and anything you got to promote, go for it, buddy.
All right. Well, I'm Nicholas Mueller. I'm the creator of Demon Hunter Raven, and I am the founder of BMR Comics. You go to bmrcomics.com to see everything all in one swipe, or you can just go to our Instagram page at BMR Comics at Instagram or on Facebook, or you can just find me as Nicholas Raven Mueller across the board. And if that doesn't suit your needs, just look up Demon Hunter Raven, and maybe you'll find it there. Anyways, we're in the middle of fulfillment, and we will be launching our next book sometime in February or March.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Definitely. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Jesse, what do you got?
Well, it's the me beating a dead horse at this point.
Nah, no way. Nope.
The 90s Nightmare trilogy is coming. It's moving along. No matter what, even if the books are like I said, we got one finished, we got two in the works, and all the work that's going into it is great. But January 13th, we'll be launching the Kickstarter. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's probably just with the team alone, having different artists and letterers and colorists and stuff all around. It's one of the biggest projects I've embarked on. So I'm very excited about it. It gives the audience, the readers, and the fans already of Burlap a little deeper look into Burlap's early years, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. There's a lot of passion behind it, but just with me, with my writing, and then with all the individual artists and everything just coming together. So I'm very excited about it. I think it'll be a really cool little trilogy, to wet everybody's whistle before Burlap Volume 2 officially starts getting it's in the process, but when it really gets into the issues 1 through 4, of Burlap Volume 2 Postmortem. Just a little bit of like a segue. And January 13th, I'm really excited.
Awesome.
And that's what's going on with Burlap.
Excited for that. All right, Dennis, you're up. What do you got?
Nothing too crazy. So one of the things I like to do, and I started this actually with the Convictor, is every month I like to showcase like characters from the indie community. So I started with Convictor, and that's when I did Samedi, and that's when I did Burlap. And I did Liar at the time. So I try and do it every month, or it's going to become my regular thing. So I kicked it off today with Grimmel.
I saw that. It was intense. Comics. That was a fantastic piece.
Yeah. So real quick, I'm going to do this real quick because I want to post these this week. But I love doing it once a month where I'm just showcasing these guys who are indie community guys. And I might not even talk to them, but I got their books and they just inspired me. I'll do this real quick. I don't know if you could see any of this, but there's about 6 of them right there.
Oh yeah, nope.
Might be a couple.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are just characters or books I got this week where I read them, and I'm like, those guys are inspiring me to keep pushing out my best quality work. So I try and do it every month, and then just keep that ball rolling. And then I'm gonna take my foot off the gas, and I already started working on my next Hellwolf piece, which I'll be passing on to you, Jason. So it's all about Hellwolf.
It's coming. All right.
I love that design, by the way. Holy cow.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, Nick, because we went through the old thing and it's just I just drew him, and then it's one of those things like I post him and then he gets way bigger than I ever anticipated. So people just love his design. I've been told he looks like a G.I. Joe action figure brought to life.
He does.
Like, that's what he looks like. Yeah, so everyone says. So, and that's cool. I take that as a full compliment for sure, because
the way that you marketed him taking this off his helmet, and
that was Nate. That's all.
That was cool.
Yeah, we haven't seen his face yet. Yeah, he's a badass Australian, that's for sure, man. Yeah, hell with the bad dude. And all right, Chris, you're up.
Well, I gotta say I like Hellwolf's name to begin with.
Yeah, we know. Yeah. His name is Christopher Michael Darkmoon. Yes, that's right.
Yep.
His name.
So for one, Crit 2 is fulfilling now. I've been packaging them and mailing them. Like I said today on my post, expect them 7 to 10 days. Could it might be delayed a little bit because of we have Thanksgiving in the post office. But those are being fulfilled now. I've broken ground on issue 3. I'm 4 pages in on that one. I got issue 0 hitting probably by the way they've projected. I'm looking at December, January. So by February, I should have 4 books out. On my site right now, I did post today. I'm doing 10% off all merchandise. I put up a Samedi kids hoodie. I'm getting that for my daughter.
I saw that. Yeah, boy.
I've got a collection of mugs for my characters. I've actually got a few of them. I think I got to get for my guys. So yeah, I just with the launch of book 2, I wanted to put a slew of new stuff on there, and so that's all 10% off till next Monday. And another big thing we're all excited for is Hunter's Moon. As soon as I get that lettered. And I can't wait to letter Hellwolf, Dennis. Really, I probably one of the biggest things and I want to end this with this. One of the biggest things I'm thankful for is not only being able to work on my own stuff, but being part of a piece that I'm extremely a big fan of. So I put that much more effort into it. So thanks for having me on.
No, definitely. All right, so what do we got? Well, obviously, Hunter's Moon is wrapping up. If you've been seeing, I've been teasing some colored pieces that we are getting back. So I'm teasing snippets of that, though that'll continue. Our colored pieces are coming back, and they're just fantastic. And so we're putting out bits pieces, and like I said, I'll be making an update through the Kickstarter for all the backers, the touch base on our current project status that I kind of touch base on in here. You can also, of course, you can find me on Instagram, the Convictor, also in Facebook, the same, the Convictor, Convictor Comics. ConvictorComics.com. You can find me there. We got a shop. We got some Convictor stuff up there. Convictor shirts, Convictor mugs. Conjure shirts. Yeah, she's another definitely popular character. So I guess I got to make a Hell Wolf shirt next. That seems like where we're heading. Next, after Hunter's Moon, when that's done, we're actually going into Hell Wolf. Hell Wolf is currently being done. I have some, what you're seeing is a lot of our covers. I got several cover artists. Dennis is doing the interiors. His very first sequential book. Dennis will be doing the Hell Wolf one shot. Nice. And we got Jack Sloan is doing a cover for Hell Wolf. Chris did the variant cover with Hell Wolf and Conjure. We got Nate is doing Nate Broughton is doing also a Hell Wolf cover. You can't do a Hell Wolf book without authentic Australians. It's just not right. So that's our next book coming. That's going to be a pretty big book. It's a one shot, but it ties into our overall mythos with the Convictor verse. So it's a very important book going forward. Yeah, I mean that's what we got next, and after that we're going to jump into the Convictor Resurgence book, which I'm already, before we even started Hunter's Moon, I was already, I think 6 or 7, maybe 8, probably 7 pages in the Resurgence already. So we're ahead of the game on that one. But yeah, so this is episode 5 of the Phalanx, and I'm thankful for all of you guys who joined us. And Nick, I am really, thank you very much for joining us. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
And of course, as always, our amazing folks in the comments who just keep it alive, keep it hopping, and just really just bring some massive energy to this. And we love doing these shows, and we love having you guys, and we do it for you. We really do. So I just say thank you for Dennis, for Nicholas, for Jesse, and for Chris, and for myself, Jason. Thank you for joining Phalanx. And guys, hang on. We'll go into the green room after this.
I forgot my website.
Go ahead, Chris. Go, Chris.
hbhcomics.com. That's my website. Homebrewed Heroes. So expect our game out next year too.
Oh yeah. There it is. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Chris has got a sale right now. He's got a sale on his in his shop. So go check it out.
Homebrewed Comics is actually trademarked, and Homebrewed Heroes, I can't own the LLC in one state, so I'm going through some a coffee company bought it.
Okay.
Their name isn't even Homebrewed Heroes. Anyway.
And I digress. But seriously, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us for episode 5 of Phalanx, and I'm very happy if you hung in with us. All you folks that did hung us after the 2-hour mark. This is, I think, I think this isn't quite our longest show, but it's just about there. So I'm signing off. Thanks for the Phalanx. We will see you guys again soon. Guys, hang on. We're going into the green room. Thanks, guys. Thank you for everything.